What up, y'all? Welcome to Chip and Zay here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. I am Zay Collier. Appreciate everybody for rocking with us on this Tuesday, January 6th. Up, cracking, it's going down. Y'all know how we do. Like, subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, the whole nine. You know, after the show, wherever you get your podcasts, hit us up there. Just type in Texas Sports Unfiltered. Y'all got it. Y'all should know by now. And if you don't know, now you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Texas Sports Unfiltered. Football season's over. Football season never ends. Basketball season's popping. Baseball, softball right around the corner. Come on. What else do you want? What else do you want? We're breaking it all down every day. My man Chip Brown, late. It's cool. We good. But yeah, it's already coming on. It's already going down, I see. Parker Deadstone. Come on, y'all. Which, guess we got to start with that. I'm sure Chip will jump in once he gets on. But former Texas Longhorn wide receiver Parker Livingston committed to Oklahoma. Arch rival, Red River. I can't front. It hurts. It hurts. I wish Parker Livingston the best, but man, there are 134 other schools, ain't it? Let's bring my man Chip Brown on. Chip, what's up?
What's going on? We got a wild and woolly day going. In the immortal words of Judy Brown, happiness is a choice. And we're happy you're spending some time with us. This is a brand new computer.
Nice, finally.
And when I look at the screen, it looks like I'm looking off to my right, but
you mean it's backwards?
Maybe.
What do you mean looking off to your right? I'm confused.
I don't know. It seems like in the past, when I looked at our screen, I was like in the center. I was looking at the center. Now it looks like I'm looking off somewhere. Anyway, who cares? All right, folks, we got a wild and woolly day going. Longhorn fans are melting down. Jaden Baugh's staying at Florida. Parker Livingston has signed with Oklahoma. I would just say the portal is still open. So don't throw stuff against your TV or your computer or lose your mind, or just, if you're going to follow recruiting, you got to hang on for all the twists and turns. So, just like I'm having to follow all these twists and turns, I'm still dealing with Twitter, X. You know what the crazy thing is? So my Twitter got hacked by some crypto kings who are putting out fancy cars and saying how great their life is from cashing in on crypto. And to get your account back, you're dealing with AI.
Oh, geez.
So you're getting emails from AI, and they're telling you, send us government, send us your proof of your identification. Well, look at this. So my driver's license looks like my face is coming out of a bathtub.
Yo, put that down, man.
Oh,
you're going to get hacked again.
So AI is like, we can't verify your identity. Okay. And if you send us fake stuff, you'll never get it. I'm like, what is going on? So I'll keep you posted how the latest.
Why don't you just drive up to one of these Tesla dealerships and say what's up to Elon?
Yeah.
He should help you.
Man.
Yeah, because they wilding.
AI, it's not fun.
Yeah, they wilding on Twitter, people calling you out and stuff, all types of stuff.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah,
everyone's gonna be mad. I mean, but here's the thing. We're seeing this a lot. Isaac Brown, it's a different world out there. And Texas, I think Texas is wondering who is, obliging by the house settlement cap rules for revenue sharing and who isn't. And, it's a wild world out there.
Well, why are they worried about everyone else?
Because I think the offers are changing, and you're seeing people go up, up, up. And look, that's fine. At the end of the day, I think Texas has a plan. I think I was surprised they were going after Cam Coleman. I've said this, there are other receivers you can get who I think are just as good as Cam Coleman, who are going to be cheaper than Cam Coleman. But everyone has seen Cam Coleman play, so they love them some Cam Coleman. I get it. Jaden Baugh, rock star. But if Texas gets Raleek Brown from Arizona State, that kid caught 34 passes last year. He averaged 6.1 a carry. I'm good with Raleek Brown. I mean, there are multiple running backs who can get you yards that you need. And you have Christian Clark, and you've got, Derek Cooper. So, people, they see the big shiny and they love the big shiny. But there are dudes that played on teams that didn't win this year that you didn't watch, like our guy Emmett Mosley last year. He played for Stanford. No one knew who he was. Everyone's like, well, what is this guy? He's good. He's going to be fine. So, people are going to be upset. They're doing their thing. But I just say, wait till the portal closes. Wait till it's done to see what Texas ends up with.
When is that, by the way?
16th.
January the 16th? Damn.
16th of January. So
it's 10 days, man.
Yeah. Well, look, they got their blocking, catching tight end. They got their insurance policy. I love this hair of the dog. Oh, wait. See, I can't even be on this computer because I can't even click on the comments. I'm not
Was it this one?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me flash my credit cards next.
Yo, you flash that ID.
I got to get.
All good. It's all good. We're learning here.
I'm afraid if I try to log in, I might disappear from this broadcast.
I mean, yeah, we'll hold you down until you get back if you mess something up. Go and get situated and comfortable. But yeah, I'm still kind of on the whole with Steve Sarkisian. Why can't you do it like Kurt Signetti? That's really what I'm on. He ruined it for everybody. I mean, it is what it is. That's how you should be doing it. They're getting the most bang for their buck. They're the only team that had a bye these last 2 years, college football playoff, 12 teams that has advanced to the following Final Four. Like what Indiana's doing, I don't get why Texas can't do. So going for someone like Cam Coleman, cool, but I feel like you can find Joe Schmo at wherever the hell school he at, who's maybe asking for 90,000 and a Kit Kat, and you develop him into something successful. Like that's, why can't we be like more Kurt Signetti, man? I don't understand. Like the numbers are going up. Why can't we find these diamonds in the roughs? Michael Masunis, okay, this is a pretty loaded tight end room. So him coming in at 6'5", 260, that sounds great and all, but is this guy going to push the needle any for what you already have in that tight end room? I don't know. But Texas trying to get these heavy hitters, their development has to be better. Like, they're just getting paid too much money. I'm talking about the coaches to not go that Kurt Signetti route. Like, it shouldn't be this difficult. I'm with you. I like Brown from Arizona State. If you could get him on, cool. Like, hopefully he ain't breaking your bank either. But you need an explosive player in that backfield, something that Contravian Wisener, as good as he was, just didn't bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need that dude that, man, once he gets off into the secondary, out of here. You ain't got to worry about nobody catching them. And Malik Brown, he is that. But how much is Brown asking for? And again, keep flirting. If you're a player out here, keep flirting around. Like, you owe yourself that. I know people are hating on Parker Livingston. I see the number going out there, allegedly 800,000. Hell no. Parker Livingston, it was cool. The story with Arch Manning was beautiful. Everybody tried to envision that Jordan Shipley, Colt McCoy thing going on. But 800,000, if he was asking that from Texas, slow your roll, Parker. Slow your roll, bro. I don't know what kind of belt buckle you trying to get with that, but hell.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him.
I mean, that's the number, man.
That's great. And he loved OU coming out of high school. They didn't offer him. So, good for him. I think that's a situation where he's going to, get money, get playing time. He's higher up on their wide receiver 1, 2, 3 list than he is at Texas. He didn't even start the Citrus Bowl. So, Texas coaches were saying, maybe, I don't know when they knew what he was asking, but he was asking for more money. So I don't really get the whole, some things are out of my control. When he made his post saying farewell to Texas, and look, you got, if you're getting 800,000 from OU, that's great. And I hope it goes better than, Brennan Thompson, who ended up leaving OU and going right on to Mississippi State. So, it depends on what you want. Quinn Ewers wanted a legacy at Texas. So he turned down the big money to be a mercenary last year and went to the NFL. And different people want different things. So, it's good for these kids. If this is, if they're getting what they want, good for them. I like Parker Livingston. He's fun. He's funny. His brothers are awesome. They're TikTok stars, and I'm going to have to watch them, from a different, I don't know if they're going to start doing a bunch of OU stuff, but yeah, I mean, look, this is a wild time. We're in an unprecedented era of free agency for college football. And, I think like the whole Cam Coleman thing, I'm good if Texas doesn't get Cam Coleman. I think there are other options out there, and some options that aren't even in the portal that, could be, if you let the right agent know, that could become an option. So look, they need offensive linemen. Zay, you and I have been saying this yesterday, today, we're like, you need offensive linemen. So maybe there's some good news coming for Texas in that department. They need it, because to me, that is priority number 1. Linebacker, priority number 2. And the Cal linebacker, whose name I can't pronounce, is getting in the portal with a no contact tag.
Damn.
Which is always interesting.
Yeah,
it's good.
introverted stuff is that? Don't call me. Don't text me. I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, see, that's what's interesting to me. Like, that's where you think about tampering and all that stuff, which that ain't nothing. I don't.
Everybody's tampering.
Everybody tampering. But to have that, to not even want to flirt with nobody, like you don't want to get wined and dined or nothing. You don't want to see any other campuses. Your mind's already sold, like your agent and everything just in line to let everybody else know, hey, y'all leave me the hell alone. No, I'm not interested. But we got this. No. I ain't even trying to hear it. I know where I'm going. Must be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, some guys are different. Some guys like the recruiting drama and excitement. Other guys are like, you know what? Let me see what this school's offering. You know what? That's good enough. I'll go in with a no contact tag. Now, I think Andrew Sprague, the offensive tackle from Michigan, went in with a no contact tag. He visited Texas. I'm told he was back at Michigan last night meeting with Kyle Whittingham, which if you're you're going to probably listen to the new coach to see what he's got to say. And then, I think Missouri was trying to get in there and talk to him, but
yeah, he's a Missouri kid. I think he's from Kansas City.
Yeah, he's from Kansas City. So, sometimes it's no contact, but then they keep trying to contact you and finally you maybe listen a little bit. But yeah, it's wild. I'm just going to say that just hold on till the end, because I think you have to stay focused on what Texas truly needs. And let's see if they fill those needs before we get to the luxury items. And look, Jaden Baugh, that dude's a hammer. He's a good player. Of course, Florida is going to do whatever it can to hang on to their young talent. And his announcement came from their NIL group, Gator Victorious. So that tells you they were ready to sweeten the pot for Jaden. And, and trust me, there were other schools that were anticipating, Jaden Baugh getting in the portal so that they could go, offer what they wanted to offer. And Florida, did their thing. But he's not the only running back out there, just like Cam Coleman's not the only receiver out there. And one thing I've liked about the way that Texas has handled its transfer portal moves under Sarkisian is that they do find the guys who are kind of the bright lights on the so-so teams that are ready to win. And now, A.D. Mitchell they got. He was a winner who came in, was concerned about his quarterback situation with, Stetson Bennett moving on. So he wanted to come play with Quinn Ewers. That was a splashy portal edition. But yeah,
and he was better than I thought he was going to be. Because remember, he was injury prone coming in. His only big time highlights in Athens was in the championship games, when they were winning when it mattered.
Yeah, when it mattered most.
Yeah, when it mattered most. But like overall, over the course of the year, his numbers weren't really there. So that's one of those ones where Sark and them, they really hit on it. Same with Matthew Golden. We mentioned that yesterday. So, Emmett Mosley, they hit on that. You just wish that he would have played all 13 games. So, yeah, like I really appreciate Texas fans being pissed off and petty about Parker Livingston going to Oklahoma. I'm not like that. Like I understand why you're pissed off and petty. I there's nothing in my body that has that in me to be mad at what Parker Livingston's doing. But I appreciate the other Texas fans doing that. Y'all do you. I ain't knocking that at all. That's what I love about college sports, because there still has to be some loyalty for sure. There's still, because Quinn Ewers, that's why we love Quinn with them big ass belt buckles and them tight jeans he got on in Miami. Quinn ain't changing. Quinn's saying, I'm bringing the Texan to South Beach. South Beach ain't changing me at all. So we appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? That's relatable. But Parker Livingston, even though he had to do what's best for him, now Texas fans, they calling out the drops. You know what I'm saying? They talking about him being Benedict Arnold stuff. Like, they going in on my man Parker. And hey, you saw in that statement he made, last 24 months, he put blood, sweat, and tears into the program. Out of his control. I want 800,000. Sark and them say, we ain't paying 800,000 for wide receiver 4. Wide receiver 4? Again, this is me conjuring souls. I'm conjuring. Sue me. But you know, Parker was looking at him like, wide receiver 4? And y'all ain't giving me this 800,000 I could get somewhere else? Oh man, that's too much. That's too much. I can't blame Parker for that. Parker thinks that's what he is. And even 600,000, that's high. That's high, T-Cox, 600,000, because I don't know what the real number is. But I've seen 800,000 be thrown out there. Now we're seeing 600,000. Somebody else in the comments said 200,000. But that's a lot for wide receiver 4, especially when you got these young bucks. Which freshman is going to make that sophomore jump? We're already putting Kalik Lockett in that spot just because of the little bit he showed in that citrus, that Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. But what he showed popped. It was a loud-ass 2 catches. Real loud. So is he going to make that jump to where, hey, you got to fight with this guy if you want to stick around? Another reason why we ain't paying you. Same thing with DeAndre Moore. With DeAndre Moore hearing those same conversations. And then you got Ryan Wingo, who got wide receiver 1 targets, but didn't perform at a wide receiver 1 level for all 13 games. They looking at that too. Chris Jackson just got pizzed again. All right. So we're all in. We're all in. We're all locked in the wide receiver room to just get some consistency there with the coaching staff. Sark can focus on the offense more now. He got Will Muschamp. So, hey, maybe if they bring in some diamond in the rough guy that's not Cam Coleman, hopefully we see a better product at that position in 2026 than we did at 2025. But I am banking on this coaching staff with what they get paid to figure it out. And they got 10 days to do so. So let's get to it. Find that diamond in the rough like Kurt Signetti keeps finding.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, this is going to be this is where your ability to evaluate is everything. It's everything. And, I like the rhetoric that Sark has said in the past about, we want to find guys who fit and not bring in guys who are going to disrupt everything. So that's key. That's why Sark makes the big bucks. He's got to determine, if we bring in this guy, is this going to be a total disruption to what we've already got? Or is this someone who comes in and fits in and helps elevate people immediately? Because all that stuff is that's as important as the talent.
Yeah. Well, could you argue about the disruption with Wisner, DeAndre Moore, and Livingston all leaving? That something was disrupted? Because those are your core guys That was a lot of leadership that went off to the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm confused on.
Well, and I'm sure that they may have told those guys the truth. They may have said, we're going to go after some big names. And then, that causes other guys. And I do think DeAndre Moore wanted a chance to be a number one somewhere. So he was going to have to go somewhere else. Parker wanted more money. He had 6 touchdowns. And look, his agent is Ron Slavin, who's, he was Quinn's agent. He's going to try and get his client money commensurate with catching 6 touchdown passes. You catch 6 touchdown passes and you're second on the team in touchdown receptions. You're going to say, hey, how about a little something for the effort? So, that's how it goes. So, and good agents do a good job. If Ron Slavin got $800,000 for Parker from OU, you go. That's life-changing money.
Yeah.
That's life-changing money. Hell, you can take $100,000 of that, put it in an IRA, and never contribute to it again, and you're retired at 50. So hopefully that's what some of these kids are doing too. You get that. You get
investing. What? We going to Magic
Don't
City.
do this.
What do you mean? We're going
trying to help
Magic
people.
City. I need a new chain, man.
Don't be, fronting.
How can the fine honey with the big old booty notice me if I don't got that chain on when it's dark in the club and I got the ice on the grill? What are you talking about? Investing? No. That big booty, Instagram model, I never would have got her if I didn't have this chain on.
Yeah, let me tell you, as a guy who's over 50, that big booty in that, in that club, in the champagne room, well, you'll have that memory even if you're broke. You go get some baby oil from P. Diddy.
Whoa. We're not talking about that.
And work it out.
What we're doing is consensual and cool, all in fun. Everybody agreed to it. Not like Puff, dirty bastard. But yeah, man, I'm with you. All jokes aside, I don't know how these guys, like all these old heads that once upon a time they were collegiate athletes talking about loyalty and all this stuff. Like, nah, if the rules what they are now, then those fools would have done the same thing. Same thing. So one thing I think about too, which this is me speculating, don't know if this is true or not, but I think about these things. My mind, it goes crazy places. I think about these things. Arch Manning gets so much attention, man. So much attention, as he should. But also, does it rub players the wrong way? Some players could deal with it, but some, I know guys that get mad jealous out here of certain guys just because it is what it is. Jealousy hits folks in different ways. But I hope that's not an issue. Because I'm just trying to fathom, and I know the money involved. I know DeAndre Moore wants to be wide receiver 1. Parker Livingston, you get $800,000. My man Travian Wisner asking for $1 million. I don't know what Florida State gave him, but clearly they made him an offer that he couldn't refuse, Godfather style. But I just think of guys like that, your core guys, all that leadership. And again, you saying, Zay, come on. I'm just saying. I'm trying to put everything out here to make it make sense, official coach, stop. I'm just trying to make things make sense of why. Why? Because next year seems like the year. Like next year, especially with how this year ended, I would have looked at it as, man, everybody who was a part of the 2025 season should have an empty feeling in their gut of what could have been. And knowing that, especially with the Final Four college football playoff, if you would have had an opportunity to make it, what kind of noise this 2025 Texas team could have done. They don't get that opportunity. So you would think 2026, going in the winter workouts, Torrey Beckton, it's on and popping. We're locked in. We're as motivated as we've ever been. This wide receiver group coming back tight. Travian Wisner, CJ Baxter getting over the injuries, coming back ready to go. Everybody with the same mindset. And this seems like the opposite of that. Like no one is really coming back to get, to think about, okay, what can we do in 2026? So I'm just, again, I know some of y'all can't stand when The Conjuring happens and I'm speculating, but when I do this, there's a reason to it because we don't know what the final decision is sometimes on why these kids make the moves that they make. So I hope that's not an issue. But again, who knows? Like, I hope jealousy has nothing to do with it. And it wouldn't be because it's anything Arch Manning's doing. We know how Arch Manning is as a teammate. He doesn't want any of the limelight. He shies away from it. He bigs his teammates up. When he gets interviewed and stuff after the OU game, I don't know who it was, Laura Rutledge, somebody, they were like, oh, Arch Manning, how you feel about being OU, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And Arch was like, yo, Travian Wisner, he won us this game. Travian Wisner was that dude. Like, Arch ain't the one. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want any of the attention. He gives it to his teammates. He's the ultimate teammate. So it wouldn't be anything he's doing, but there's still some guys that want that shine. They see that shine coming from somewhere else. I saw it with Russell Westbrook and KD. Wow, if I'm Russell Westbrook, wouldn't the logical thing be, man, this guy's better than me. I want to win. So if I give this guy the ball more, maybe we'll win. That didn't happen. What happened? Russell said, I wanted to be the guy. And what happened with that? Russ is ringless. So don't say it can't happen, y'all. Don't say that what I'm speaking of is just bullshit. Oh, it's not. It's happened before. I'm not saying it's going on in Texas, but it could happen. So that's just what I'm throwing out there. Hope that's not the case, but it's just very odd to see guys that have been a part of the program that were leaders for you just go off and not take less money and not make it work and see if there's grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot more to this portal free agency. And I love Quintravian Wisner as a guy, a glue guy, just a dog who shows up when you need him most. But he's not, he doesn't have the, I mean, look, there's special talents out there. We know. We saw Bijan at Texas. You watch James Cook play for the Bills. You see those guys who can make something out of nothing, and and Texas needs some of that. I mean, Quintravian Wisner as part of your 1-2 punch is nice. I don't know why Sark didn't run him more, like against Georgia. He was worried Georgia was about to blow out Texas, so he felt like he needed to throw it. I'm like, well, one way to slow down a blowout is to run it. So, some of it is some of the production. Some of the production is on how the coaches are calling it. Quintravian Wisner didn't get much of a chance in that Georgia game, and he was averaging 6 a carry and looked great on that first drive. I looked it over at Eric Henry. I was like, okay, Texas running the ball on Georgia. And then we saw, and then it turned into the throw game, and the throw game, it was the drop game. And sometimes you got to just look at how your team is responding. It's like when Miami played Louisville, they didn't run Mark Fletcher. Go look at the numbers, and it made no sense. And they kept throwing it with Carson Beck, and he threw 4 interceptions. Like, sometimes you got to say, you know what? Our quarterback doesn't have it. So we're going to do some of this. We're going to do some of that. And, you know, Miami ran the ball with Mark Fletcher against Ohio State, and they won it.
Yeah, against A&M too.
Yeah, against A&M too.
That's why they're still playing.
And that game's going to be crazy. That game's going to be crazy. Miami and Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I'm back and forth on that one because I love what Trinidad Chambliss looked like in that game against Georgia. Loved it. I was saying to my wife, I'm like, this dude is ready for the league right now. I mean, he was doing some Pat Mahomes type stuff. He's getting chased out of the pocket. He throws a ball left-handed down. Just, you know, a little pop down to his back as he's about to get sacked. I mean, or maybe it wasn't left-handed. Maybe it was like a little, you know, pitch down the field. But yeah, you need dudes, man. And dudes come in all shapes and sizes. We've seen, I mean, Antonio Brown was a 6th round pick out of Central Michigan. That dude was killing it for the Steelers before he lost his mind. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You got to do your homework. You got to look. You got to do the evaluating. And you got to know who you're dealing with. And there's still some stuff out there for Texas if they go figure it out. But
you got to elaborate more about just the market moving and Texas trusting that everybody is being legit with revenue share and stuff like that, because that's interesting. Like,
well,
I don't know why they're worried about other teams, but the way you're making it sounds like they have to with what's going on.
Well, Sark hinted at it at the Citrus Bowl. Let me pull up his quote. You know, he said, we have a cap. We have a cap. It's the house settlement. And
man, Cody Campbell don't give a damn about that cap.
Well, that's right. So if everyone else isn't, then if everyone else is gambling on the fact that it's all, you know, not going to be policed, then you've got a decision to make, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, let me say this. At the same time, I don't think you should spend $4 million on Cam Coleman. You know, what Michigan did to get Bryce Underwood, that's crazy. That's crazy. So you don't want to be that team. I mean, you want guys who want to be with you.
Yeah. See, and that's where I'm confused, because what's wrong? You got that 20 million point, whatever the hell you're getting that everyone gets. If Cody Campbell wants to say, hey, I'm going to throw a little mill on the top of that, what's wrong with him doing that? Like, what's illegal about that? And why couldn't you do it from just different sponsors and do it through that, like a different party? Like, that's what I'm confused at, which I think Texas, they should definitely be taking advantage of that if other people are doing that, which I feel like they have.
Right. And that's right. That's the gray area. You know, that's the whole fair market deal that has to get approved by the, you know, Deloitte NIL Go clearinghouse. If it's a legit NIL deal like Arch's, Red Bull and Warby Parker and stuff, it does not count against the revenue share for Texas. That's money. That's legit NIL that Arch Manning has gone and gotten. And that's why he's always agreed to less. But then if you promise a guy a bunch of money and then you got to go find him a legit NIL deal, you better make sure it's legit according to how they're trying to police this thing.
Yeah.
And it only is going to work if everyone abides, right? And you heard Greg Sankey say, y'all want guardrails. Well, we have guardrails, so follow the guardrails. Well, no one's following the guardrails.
No.
So we're back, we're out in the Wild West. We're running around with our horses and we're shooting each other and, meet you at high noon and we'll turn on 3, but I'll turn on 2 and shoot you in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just feel like that's such an easy way to get around it. Like you put on a autograph of it for so-and-so player to make up for that, charge $100 a head, have some big-time booster pay for everyone to get a free autograph. Oh, it's taken care of. I thought it was $100 a head. No, we got somebody taking care of it, so you don't got to worry about that. And then throw in a little tip. We have only about a certain amount of people for $100 a head, but we got to add more. Let's just say it's a tip. You know what I'm saying? Let's just add a little extra because we're being nice. We're being friendly. Bam. Easy. Kid gets his money. We're all happy. Made it look legit. We're all happy. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird game.
Here's let's get to some of the latest because people are saying we're just up here riffing. Texas is involved with NC State offensive tackle Jacarius Peak. And so that's another name to keep an eye on, in addition to Andrew Sprague and Jake Guarnera.
What are those guys, by the way? They tackles, guards, center?
So Sprague is a tackle. Guarnera can play guard or center. And Jacarius, I'm looking him up right now. Jacarius Peak is a tackle. And he's got 1 year of eligibility remaining, 6'4", 298. And then you've also got Nate Kibble. Remember him?
Yep.
He has committed to Baylor.
Good for him.
So, but today I think, and I know people are, looking at the Michael Masunis, the Michigan State tight end, and saying, meh. Look, that dude caught 19 balls, and, Jack Endries caught 28. It wasn't a smooth operation at Texas in terms of passing the football. Endries had 33 catches for 346 and 3 touchdowns. Masunis, 6'5", 259, 19 catches, 232 yards, 3 touchdowns. This kid is, if you're going to play in 11 personnel, this kid he can block. and he can catch. So is he the receiver that Jack Endries was? We'll find out, because Michigan State was not exactly a juggernaut this past season. So this is an example of finding that guy who does his job. That's what you need, guys who are going to do their job in what's asked of them in the offense. Like, I think this is a solid pickup. You've already got good receiving tight ends and Nick Townsend, and, you know, when Jordan Washington's locked in, Jordan Washington and Amari Winston. So, you know, it's a good pickup. And then, you know, listen, if they get these kids, if they get these offensive linemen from Michigan, oh, hell, you've just helped yourself. You know, these guys are solid dudes. It'd probably be nice if they came together. Because you'd have some cohesion and chemistry and leadership along with Trevor Gooseby. And don't forget that, you know, they wanted to keep Jelani McDonald and Trevor Gooseby, and it looks like they've done that. So some of your most key guys indicating that they're, you know, gonna be part of this next year. So
yeah,
that offensive line is the key.
For sure, definitely the key. And I know the tight ends that are currently in the room more, you know, wide receiver tight ends, but I don't know. I was just expecting a jump from Shannon and Washington that we didn't get, and injuries. He was all right.
Well, they love Nick Townsend.
Yeah, they love that dude.
They love Nick Townsend. So
I don't know about giving him the ball on carries as a fullback. We need that was horrible.
Hey, it worked once.
It did not work against Michigan.
It worked against A&M.
That was an end around. That was a hell of a play.
Yeah. What'd you say?
That just give it to the fullback. Like fullback.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Counter. I don't know what the hell that was. Fullback dive. It was rough. That was rough. But I don't know. I just want those tight ends to stay locked in because they do have upside. So I hope they don't see this and say, I can't do it. Which when I say the tight ends, I'm really meaning Townsend, Amari Winston. No offense to Jordan Washington and Spencer Shannon, but I feel like those two, Winston, Townsend, they're ahead of Shannon and Washington. And now you bring in Masunis. We'll see. Yeah.
And you need, you know, Jack said tight end blocking was more important last season. It is important. And if you look at Masunis, he's a really good pass blocker, you know? So if he needs to stay in, he can give that to you. If they need to max protect or they need him to line up over a dominant pass rusher, he can hold his own. You're not just going to get run over. So, you know, that's important stuff. And that's what you need from that position. Let's see what else we can update here.
Yo, y'all thinking Jonah Williams going to drop football for baseball. Okay.
Well, so that, you know, we'll know more soon. I've heard that that Schloss and Sarkisian haven't really had the conversation yet about how spring is going to be handled. But I know Schloss wants Jonah playing center field. And I think Jonah wants to be playing center field. So it's going to be a tough deal because you got a new defense coming in, new defensive coordinator. You got, you know, Jonah, who's unbelievable athlete. We saw that showed up in the Citrus Bowl. And yet the guy is an absolutely incredible. He's got so much upside as a center fielder. And my God, what did he hit last year? I mean, the guy can play some baseball now.
No, he was good. I don't know. He seems so set on playing both sports, and you know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't think he's at the point yet of having to decide, but we'll see. I mean, Will Muschamp's a pretty, he wants guys who football's important to him, but when you're that talented, there are probably exceptions. I mean, Jonah Williams batted .327 as a freshman.
It's pretty good.
You'll take that.
Yeah.
I mean, the top hitter for Texas last year was Ethan Mendoza at .333. Jonah, as a non-starter, was your second best hitter. So, and he won, he had game-winning RBI. Like he showed you he's got some stuff. He's got some tools, especially when that hamstring is nice and healthy.
Yeah, we need it to be healthy. That's my biggest thing with him, just injuries, man. If he could get over those injuries, then I'm good with him playing two sports. But if those two sports are going to cause those injuries, then, yeah, I wouldn't mind him making the decision. Either way, he's going to be a star at whatever decision he makes if it comes down to that. And he's going to be a star, period. Both sports. It's just, to be a star, you got to be on the field. And that's my biggest concern with him.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a very, very interesting.
What's odd is why haven't Sark and Schloss had this discussion? Like, I'd be talking about them once a week. Like, I'd have a specific time for about 15 minutes once a week on Jonah Williams, and where both coaches can see eye to eye on where he's at, how to use him, where's his body at, what they see on both sides. Like, I feel like he's worth that. And I'm sure they have some type of agreement going on. I don't know what that means, but to hear from you, they haven't talked about it in spring.
Like,
what?
You've got the scholarship. Are they going to move him off of a football scholarship? Now that baseball has full scholarships, is he going to become a predominantly baseball guy? Is he going to be a baseball scholarship who moonlights in football? Or is he going to be a football scholarship who moonlights in baseball? Baseball can now carry him if need be. But that's a big decision. That's a big decision because that's going to, and that's a lot of what Jonah has to decide. So,
why for Jonah? Why for Jonah is it such a big deal on which program or which sport at the scholarship?
It's kind of, you're allowing one sport. Who's like, what are you going to do about spring? This is exactly what we're talking about. Baseball season's going on and spring football is going on. Spring football is the beginning of football season. I mean, winter conditioning is really the beginning of football season, but and if Jonah is, he and Will Muschamp are getting to know each other, and they could be fine with it. Will Muschamp could be like, "Hey, I just need you to come to the meetings. Just need you to come to the meetings. I trust you. I like how you work. I like your mindset. We're good." Other coaches are like, "I need you on the field.
Yeah.
If you're not on the field, but this kid's a special kid. He's a different dude." And so it'll be interesting. But I know they have big plans for him in baseball.
Yeah.
He and that kid, Aiden Robbins, I've been told Aiden Robbins is the real deal. And I know Schloss would love to have Aiden Robbins in either left or right or maybe center. I don't know. I mean, Jonah can cover a lot of ground. and center is big at the dish. So, but if you have those two in the outfield, you're looking pretty good because Robbins can hit. He was the steal of the baseball transfer haul, because they did have some guys who signed with Texas out of the portal who ended up getting drafted and signing with major league teams. But Aiden Robbins is a guy who wanted to come to Texas, show he can do it at the SEC level, and, get after it. And I do think Texas baseball's pitching is going to be outstanding this season, because you got Volantis, you got, they really like what Jason Flores is doing, how he's progressed in terms of building his body. He's a flamethrower. And then, you still have Luke Harrison, and you've got these guys they brought in from the portal, like Cal Higgins. And so I think it's going to be interesting. I'll just give you those little nuggets on Texas baseball, because
I'm ready for baseball.
Yeah.
As long as we ain't hitting folks, I'm good. Way too many hit batters last year in this pitching. Way too many.
Yeah.
Cost them in the end.
Right. That's like shooting free throws, man. Make your free throws. Don't give away free bases.
Yeah. Like,
don't, you can throw a ball.
0-2 situations. 0-2, man. Just, we got it out on the way. And all of a sudden, ding. No outs. 0-2, no outs. Put that guy on first. Dude on first swipes a bag or something. Yeah.
Well,
I'm not looking forward to that.
What, give me your take on, where things are right now with the transfer portal.
I mean, I think Texas is being super patient. That's how I'm looking at it. I mean, there's no need to panic, but also these positions that they got to get better at. You're wondering, all right, you got 10 days. Do these guys have it all figured out? Again, are they just being patient with it? Because if they are, then cool. But that's why I didn't like the comment on worrying about everybody's revenue share and what's going on with that. Like, that sounds a little panic to me. So I hope that's not the case. I hope, once things start to trickle down even more, that they can finalize their selection and get these guys in. But yeah, I could get why Texas fans are a little antsy at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I think what we're talking about is, for these top guys, if the money's, going through the roof, if it's going more than $2 million, for a receiver who's going to play for 1 year, or, Jaden Baugh, he's draft eligible after this next season. If the money goes up over $2 million for 1 year, is that how you want to spend the money? So, that's where I think on the other fronts, they're looking at, making good business decisions, getting the right guys in. Like I said, I know people are crazy about Cam Coleman. I like Nick Marsh out of Michigan State, who's going to Indiana.
What?
Didn't he commit?
Oh, I didn't see that.
I thought he committed.
I mean, he might have, but I didn't see it. Yep, going to Indiana. This dude, Kurt Signetti, man. Like, these guys are getting ready for games. These guys are getting ready to play on Friday. Oregon, huge game, biggest game in Indiana history. And Sark, you ain't got nothing to do. Sark ain't got nothing to get ready for. Nothing. Kurt Signetti. Nothing.
You make it sound like Sark's just sitting around watching reruns of 2.5 Men.
He ain't prepping to get to a national championship. I know that for a fact. Yeah. I know Curt Cignetti for a fact is, and he's still out here getting guys, man. That's why I'm saying Indiana's making everybody look bad. Curt Cignetti's making everybody, all these blue bloods, look bad.
That's what 23-1 will do for you.
I respect it.
You know,
I respect it. Like, wow, it's impressive. Because that's one of the big. Curt Cignetti, he ruined all my Cam Coleman hopes. Because you can do it. Better coaching, guys. Like, yeah, it's hard to coach. It's hard to develop, but guys are out here doing it and putting it all together and making it work. And I get, some of y'all are telling me yesterday, well, they all 23 years old. Okay. Go get an old-ass man and put him on your roster that is wise, that ain't worried about going out on 6th Street and all just the negative things that come with the ATX.
Remember what Scott Drew said after winning that national championship at Baylor? He said, the key is staying old. And, in basketball, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can find those veterans to come in and stay old. Just have a little sprinkling of young, up-and-coming talent.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, grown-ass men over Indiana. All those guys, they be reading books and stuff. You talk about investing. Those dudes are not in the club. Those dudes, you ain't got to worry about anybody on Indiana. You see the way Fernando Mendoza be talking? That dude.
You love him.
Oh, man.
You love how emotional he gets after.
I love that dude. I love him. Cornball. But Phillip Rivers cornball. It can be done. You can be corny as hell, sound like a robot.
What's your gut right now on who wins those games?
I like Indiana. I think Oregon's going to give them hell because I know Texas Tech overrated playing that weak-ass Big 12 schedule, and it definitely exposed them in that Orange Bowl. But still, Dan Lanning and Oregon, they played their ass off to put those dudes in donut mode. 0 points scored in that game. So it's going to be tough. It's tough to beat a team twice. They've seen them before. They got a bad taste in their mouth going to Autzen Stadium and getting their ass whooped, them Ducks. So I expect it to be a battle. I don't know what the line is. I haven't even checked that out.
I think it's 3.5.
Ooh. Yeah. I like Indiana, but if they had a game that they slip up on, I could definitely see it being this one. And then, I'm with you on the Miami Ole Miss. I have no idea who's going to win that one. I see the line, Miami -3.5. Okay. Maybe the fact that Lane Kiffin is getting his coaches to Baton Rouge, and I don't know how many coaches aren't coaching in this game. It's about like 5, right? Something like that. I think Weiss Jr. is the only one. I could be mistaken. Y'all help me out there. But if that's the case, that's tough. But Trinidad Chambliss, if somebody could run on them boys, Ruben Bain and Messidor, if somebody can make those dudes look silly, it's Trinidad Chambliss. Like he's got that it factor aura around him right now, and they're playing pissed off. Like Trinidad Chambliss was on the 4-Letter Network today talking about, I could have went to LSU, but I Ole Miss a lot. I like it here. Like, we got something to prove. And then there are certain guys that are going to go with Lane Kiffin, and there's certain guys that want to stick it to Lane Kiffin. And I think they got a lot more guys that want to stick it to Lane Kiffin and prove to themselves that, it's not just you, bruh, that put us in this position. We got some good players. We got some good coaches. Golden's doing this thing. And they're playing with that confidence. I love Ole Miss story.
Yeah. By the way, Jacarius Peak, the NC State offensive tackle, Pro Football Focus, 74.5 overall, 83.7 as a pass blocker, which is nice. And 66.5 run blocking grade, which is about where Texas's offensive linemen were this past season. 8 penalties. So I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, penalties, that was a huge problem for Texas this year. Like way too many 7, 8 penalty games. You saw that last game against Michigan. They were in double digits. Like too many positive gains get negated by that laundry coming out because guys are just undisciplined. Got to clean that up.
Yeah.
That's a must. There's no excuse. That's all coaching. You have to clean those things up. You cannot be 136 teams. They're in the 130s for penalties this year. That's insane. There's no excuse for that. It's a huge point of emphasis if I'm Steve Sarkisian. I don't know if they got to discipline harder. I have no idea how you fix that, but it's coaching. So figure it out, please, because that was embarrassing this past year. Texas should never be that bad in penalties.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, and Jacques is asking, is Connor Robertson coming back? Connor's waiting to see what Texas does in the portal. You know, I think he wants to feel like if I'm coming back, I've graduated. If I'm coming back, I want to do it because I'm the guy. You know, if you're just going to replace me, and I'm going to be a backup coming back for a 5th year, well, then maybe I'm not coming back. So it's tricky, but that's smart. I mean, I think, Christian Clark he heard from schools after the Citrus Bowl. So he's negotiating. And, I think there's some good news coming, and you never know. You never know. And everybody's trying to figure out what's best for them within the confines. And it's a juggling act. Sark's got to be the guy who's like, hey, here's how we see it, and still love on these guys.
Yeah.
Especially guys like that, Connor Robertson, Christian Clark, who might be, I think Connor Robertson, he's a Texas guy. So if he doesn't, if they recruit over him, he might just say, I'm good. I've had my good run. I loved starting these last 4 games for the Longhorns, but I know he'd love to be a starter for the Longhorns next year. So,
yeah, he's got to get better. If he wants that, he has to get better. There's a reason why they're looking for other guys to replace him. I mean,
and they're really looking at the guards, because Cole Hudson's moving on, DJ Campbell's moving on. So they got to fill those 2. Like we said, Nate Kibble's committed to Baylor now. And Neto is in the portal, and so you gotta fill those guard positions. You've got Brandon Baker and Trevor Gooseby, but you got to fill those guard positions, and then you probably got to bring in a tackle. The thing about Sprague is he's got 2 years, so I mean he's played predominantly right tackle, but they have to evaluate who their next wave is at tackle. Is it Jason Chapman? Is it Andre Kojo coming off the knee? Is it Nick Brooks? Is it, Jordan Coleman, some of these young guys that they've got in the pipeline. So, but you need answers now in the portal on the offensive line. That much I know. So,
Kojo, did you see him at the Citrus Bowl in practice and stuff? I saw pictures.
Yeah, he was, he's wearing his jersey out there with the team. He's not ready yet. He's not cleared to, get back out there.
When do you think he'll be cleared?
He was a preseason guy, so probably 9 months coming off the ACL.
So what, March, April?
Yeah. When did they? Well, now CJ's was more involved. He had 2 ligament tears.
That was just the ACL for Kojo, right?
Yeah. It was the MCL and LCL for CJ Baxter.
Yeah, his was really bad.
That was rough. All right, let's get a couple mentions in here. We'll spread them out a little bit today. Like our man Tom McKay, Audio Visual Consultations. Look, maybe in the new year, it's time for you to spoil yourself with a new big screen TV or maybe a full-blown new media room, surround sound, the whole deal. Well, Tom and his crew make it so easy. They bring everything to you, including the best price on big screens. You don't need to be driving around town, lugging 80-inch TVs around, punching holes in your drywall. You call 255-8678, and Tom and his crew are going to bring everything to you, from the free consultation to installation. Tom and his crew make it so easy. And, don't try to be the weekend warrior. Like I said, Tom's going to bring you the best price on big screens. So give him a call, 255-8678. He can also handle surveillance, electronic shades, new lighting, the whole deal. And for my guys who are snoring, listen, let's take care of that in the new year, because you've got the best in the business, and we've got a great partnership with the Sleep Cycle Center of Austin. Because if you're snoring, it is more than just annoying to the person sleeping next to you. It is the sign of what could be a serious health issue called sleep apnea, which is a lack of oxygen when you're sleeping. And if you snore, it's worth it for you to go to sleepcyclecenters.com and tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. If you do that, they're going to take $100 off your sleep study, which is practically giving it away. And Dr. Chad Denman, who's dedicated his life to treating sleep apnea because it killed his own father at the age of 60, has the best technology to detect your level of sleep apnea and the best treatment options, including oral appliances like I have, a mouth guard that holds my lower jaw open when I sleep so I get that oxygen. And you don't want to be taking risks with this. This is potentially fatal. I mean, Dr. Chad's dad died from it. Reggie White, the Minister of Defense, died from sleep apnea. So do yourself a favor, take advantage of this great opportunity, this partnership that we have with Sleep Cycle Center of Austin. Go to sleepcyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. All right, Zay. We've got, and Jack's right on the money here. What's even more scary is sleep apnea without snoring. So just get yourself checked out. Take advantage of this great partnership so that, we're not CB says Texas is giving fans sleep apnea. All right. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't even say this. No one's in the mood to joke around, but sometimes when things get a little rough on the recruiting trail and there's some bad news, whatever, if Texas has someone who's like silently committed, they ask them, hey, why don't you go ahead and make that public? Give the fans a little something. So, I don't know if Texas has
what inside scoop do you think? What inside scoop do you think Parker Livingston gave Brent Venables about Arch?
Oh, I don't even know.
Like what kind of draws he sleep in? Like I'm trying to, because he knows he knows a lot.
I'm sure Brent will be trying to scrape every last nugget.
Right. And if you're Parker Livingston, like the friendship's still there. Don't think just because, and again, I'm assuming here, so maybe that's not the case. I don't know. I would hope when you're roommates with somebody, just because they went off to the rival, then the friendship stays and it wouldn't end. So, like, what is Parker willing to tell Brent Venables? And what is he? Like, I don't know how much you can say, but obviously he knows the offense back of his hand. So there's that. But yeah, man, it's messy. It's messy. No way you're trying to spin it. It is messy as hell. And I don't know who Archer's roommate's going to be this upcoming year, but you're going to have to find a new roommate.
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe he's ready to have a place to himself. You know what I'm saying?
Are you saying Dolo?
I mean, who knows? He's got the bread to.
Oh, duh.
You can buy a house.
Oh, yeah.
But
some guys, they want that college. I mean, Hyde. I'm sure Hyde would love to crash with his brother.
Oh, yeah.
Last time ever before Arch goes off to the NFL. But Hyde out in these streets, boy.
He's like Turtle in Entourage.
He ain't like that.
Hey, Arch. Let's get a house on the lake.
He is not like that, man. He got more pull than Turtle did on Entourage or Johnny Drama. He's like all those dudes mixed in one. Arch is definitely Vinny Chase, but yeah, that's funny.
Rex says if Brent is relying on Parker for intel to beat Sark, he's more screwed than we know.
Yo, he has to be desperate, Rex. He has to be. The way that he's been losing, the lack of points they've been putting up, like this, you got to be desperate. Now he gave himself some leverage by making the college football playoff, and it was the opposite side that Brent isn't involved with. Even though he's the head coach, he's not an offensive guy. The defense was amazing, so he just has to figure out the offense and get that back right. That's why he brought Parker in. But he's desperate, so I wouldn't put it past him to try to get any information that he can.
Yeah.
I like this. We've have you noticed in 2026 we've had more haters on comment section, which I love. Like that's how I know we're popping. This is the most haters we've had in the 3 years we've been doing this. Like, I see my man Tony going at me. Tony, I appreciate you. Shiny spin, whatever makes me feel better. I feel great. Like, I don't know.
Tony's got a OU helmet as an avatar.
Which is beautiful. Like,
yeah, we got so many A&M fans who watch this show. And I love them all. I love them
all. Y'all.
Love the Aggies.
Y'all making life good for us.
Hey, the Aggies and the Longhorns, they talk about each other in their fight songs. And Texas OU, all these OU fans, I know, welcome. That's what makes the rivalry great. That's why second Saturday in October every year is the greatest game day atmosphere in sports. We love it.
We love it.
Y'all just keep hanging out with us.
Yep, keep hanging out. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I embarrassed you. That really bothers me embarrassing Tony. That's really
what was the night. What was the score of this year's game?
It was rough.
23-6.
Yeah, year before 34-3.
Yeah, the Aggies are like, man, what do we got to do? get over on these horns. Well, they get him back in Kyle Field, and Quintravian Wisner's going to be suiting up for Florida State.
Yo, he looked clean in that Florida State gear. They had him in the baby blue joints. I ain't gonna lie, that's a fly fit. I like FSU's uniforms. I always have. Always like Florida State's unis, especially when they got their alternates and stuff. Like, he looks happy as hell. He looks happy. He looks like everybody eating good. He looks like he about to get his carries. He knows he playing in the ACC, so he ain't got to deal with that SEC talent anymore. Oh, man, Quintravian Wisner, we going for 1,300 yards this year in Tallahassee, man. We going Quintravian Wisner, he looking at that Doak Walker Award and say, yo, that's mine. That is mine, boy. Sark was not having that. Sark said, you're going to have to split reps. Q Wilder said, I can't do it. I need a mill, and I can't do it. Give me them
I need
reps.
a mill.
That's what we said. That's what we heard. That's what.
Oh, yeah.
I need a mill, Steve.
Yeah.
Come on, man. What y'all feeling? Mom's been grinding. We know what mom did. Mom sacrificed going up to DeSoto. So Quintravian Wisner, he loves his parents. He's trying to, hey, give it back. That's a good son right there. Like, banking on himself. I cannot knock it. But, yeah. Old Mike Norvell. They saying, Quintravian, we going to get you Doak Walker this year, my brother. Come on down, Tallahassee. Yeah, I got Florida State now. They got your Mustangs probably. They going to run all over your Mustangs.
Hey.
Wisner, I don't know what the rest of the roster is other than Miami, which Carson Beck going to be gone. So,
yeah,
Miami.
And Mario's going to be – does Mario have a commitment from a new quarterback?
I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah. Mario.
Who was flirting over there? They had somebody that was flirting.
Yeah, they had somebody who was flirting. Rocco Becht is going to Penn State with Matt.
Oh, that's a good move.
Sam Levitt is visiting LSU.
That tracks. That tracks.
Yeah, because Trinidad Chambliss said, I'm not talking to Lane till the playoffs are over.
Oh, did he? I thought he was staying.
Or, yeah, I mean, he said, I don't want to hear from Lane right now. Did he say he's staying?
That's what I thought.
I like that. I like that from Trinidad. Who's your Trinidaddy? Trinidad. I love stories.
Trinidad Chambliss return if NCAA okays waiver.
Oh, that's right. He's got a. Hell, what am I saying? Monday I said, forget the waiver, just turn pro. It's like,
how many starts does he have?
I don't know, not enough, but
not enough.
But the dude got it done at Ferris State too, and I know everyone's like Ferris,
yeah.
But yeah, this would be a 6th year for him if he gets the waiver, because if you're counting Ferris State as like a JUCO or whatever, it's D2, FCS, whatever the NCAA's rules are at the moment, change every 5 minutes.
He was winning natties there, though.
Yeah. I mean, he's played. I love that he came even with Austin Simmons there. Do you see Austin Simmons is up and out?
I mean, I'm not surprised. Where's he going? He just about to start flirting?
Yeah. See where he's going.
Because I don't think Lane's going to call that dude. And if he does, he's going to be like the 9th or 10th call.
Austin Simmons is going to Missouri.
That's a pretty good pickup.
Yeah.
Old Drinkwitz, crazy ass. That's a good pickup. They're always quietly scary.
I like it. I mean, I look at Trinidad Chambliss. He's so much better than a guy like who's the dude from Florida who came out way too early.
Oh, Richardson.
Yeah, Richardson. Like, I'd take Trinidad Chambliss high. Like, if he came out, I'd take him high. Because he can move a little bit. Like,
he can move a lot of bit.
I mean, Trinidad Chambliss, Fernando Mendoza.
All right.
I'm serious.
All right.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Look, Josh Allen was at Wyoming. Again, it's D1 compared to D2, Trinidad Chambliss, but Trinidad was winning natties. Like, he was beating the best of the best in D2. So it's still a huge jump from what he's seeing now. But that's what they're going to say when the draft process starts. If he doesn't get the waiver, if he enters the draft, that's what they're going to say. He doesn't have the D1 reps that the scouts love, which is about 30 of them things. So how's he going to do? Combine, pro day, etc. But somebody going to be like you and take a chance on him. They got to, especially if they win a natty. If they win a natty, oh, man.
That'd be insane. But that's the thing. You look at the teams that have stability in their coaching staff. It's Miami more so than Ole Miss. Ole Miss has got, Charlie Weiss calling the plays. None of the other dudes are with him anymore.
I heard the same thing about Georgia. They said the same thing.
Right.
Same thing. So, yeah, I don't know.
And every win they get, Lane gets another $250,000.
Which is foul, man. That's in and you know where he's spending it. You know he's blowing it on things that coaches usually don't blow it on.
What?
Hot yoga. Don't say what with his shirt off. Always got the honeys.
What you know about what Lane's spending his money on?
You see, hot yoga ain't cheap. Come on, man.
Look at this. T. Cox says, calm down on Trinidad. Comparisons to Diego Pavia. No. Trinidad is not 5'10". And that dude just commands. Trinidad is 6'4".
Yeah.
No. Hold on. Stand by. Trinidad, he's like 6'1". I'm good with that. He's accurate, man. That's what I look at. Accurate.
Yeah.
You know why Baker Mayfield's still in the league? Accurate. He was a 71% completion guy.
What happened to Baker this year, though?
I know.
This wasn't it.
He was playing hurt. He's, he's playing with guys, without guys.
Yeah.
But I look at
my boy Raheem Morris. See ya. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, Raheem. Hope you get some lemon pepper wings to go on your way out of Atlanta, boy. Get your ass out of here. Man, that felt good. Arthur Blank, well done. I might go to Home Depot later today just because I'm so excited for that firing. Raheem Morris had to go, Chip. You know how I feel about that. We can't waste Bijan Robinson's career no longer. We're about to be on year 4. Bijan Robinson is one of the greatest players ever. I'm telling you. You should have seen Troy Aikman talking about Bijan, that Monday Night Football game, comparing them to Emmett and stuff, comparing them to Barry in awe. And it's facts. Raheem Moore out here got the shackles on him. We don't need that. You don't need that negative energy. You know what I'm saying? Don't know what to do with Penix. Don't know what to do with Kurt. You don't need that negative energy. The NFC South was horrible. It is horrible. Bucks trash. Panthers trash. I hope Panthers get blown out by 50 in that first round wild card game. Ain't no way the Falcons should have lost that division. Ain't no way. But somehow Raheem Morris, just bad coaching. Bad coaching.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he had to go. And he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's paid. He's well off. Life's good. He'll be fine. But you got to bring in somebody that got things rolling, that can get things rolling, where Bijan is obviously going to be a focal point, but also everything else has to click too. And Raheem, he didn't know what he wanted. So indecisive. Can't have that. Bijan's too good for that. So, yeah, sayonara, Raheem.
Man, the NFL playoffs, man, the Rams at the Panthers. You got to figure that Matt Stafford's going to play better than what he did the last time. That 10.5-point line seems like a lot.
That's high.
On the road. And then Green Bay is favored by 1.5 at Chicago. Okay.
Yeah, your Lions, they weakened them a little bit, those Bears. You know, even though it wasn't for anything, Amon-Ra went off and, you know, they kept their starters in the game. So for Ben Johnson and crew, that's just a weird way to go into the playoffs. Losing your last one to a rival team, and now you're playing the team for a third time. Yeah, I don't know.
Buffalo at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's won 8 games in a row. And Buffalo's favored by 1.5.
Duval. Shout out to Liam Cohen, man. I wasn't sure on Liam Cohen when you did that Duval. That is introduction press conference. I was like, okay, this guy, he's a little odd, but doesn't mean he's not good.
San Francisco.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence playing great. Trevor Etienne. San Francisco at Philadelphia. Philadelphia favored by 4.5.
Yeah, weird game because with the way Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers were rolling, for them to only score 3 points against the Seahawks. But shout out to the Seahawks. You got to give Mike McDonald and those guys credit. Byron Murphy, like those dudes, they don't want to be compared to the Legion of Boom either. Like that's what everybody compares them to because their defense is good. And people think of those Pete Carroll, Richard Sherman, you know, Earl Thomas guys. But this crew, they're good. Their secondary's good. They don't get pushed around. For them to put up or only allow 3 points to what the Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers been doing prior to that, very impressive. Yeah, I don't know how the 49ers got to get back up and go into Philly with that cold. Last time Brock Purdy got hurt in that first half, you remember that? Rookie season for Brock Purdy?
That elbow?
NFC Championship. Got hurt early. That was the game right there. So,
hey, that's
familiar with each other.
The Texans got the right team to play. Pittsburgh is going to be 38 degrees on Monday night. So, Texans, bring your hand warmers. I like the Texans, baby.
What's the line there?
Houston by 3 at Pittsburgh.
My man Rodgers got crazy ass DK Metcalf coming back. All right.
Good.
All right.
I hope we get some good games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I ain't got no dog in the fight. I just want to see some good football. That's it. Chargers, they're limping in too. They got, they've played kind of weird at the end of the year. I don't know what Patriots, Stephon Diggs situation, all the crap that he has going on. I mean, Mike Vrabel, if anybody could keep that hush-hush and still focus on the main thing, it's Mike Vrabel. So we'll see, but they're young. That's a very young team, their first playoff experience. Drake May, who is a crazy MVP. It's nuts that the Heisman and the MVP this year are just two guys no one was expecting. Like, no one had on their agenda Fernando Mendoza winning the Heisman, and no one had Drake May most likely winning MVP, because I think Stafford, with those losses that he's had toward the end of the year, that's kind of bumped him out of the race. But Drake May, man, he's put on, fourth place schedule or not. Travion Henderson, hell of a pickup in the draft from Ohio State. Just added some to their run game. Picking up crazy-ass Stephon Diggs, who still went 85 catches, over 1,000. As crazy as he is, all them baby mamas and stuff. Can't say he didn't produce. You just got to control it. Hey, Michael Irvin was crazy. You just got to control them dudes sometimes. You got to have the right coaches to let them be crazy, but not a distraction. It's hard to do, but it can be done. It's proven.
It's proven.
Proven. By the way, we didn't talk about this because you weren't on Friday. Did you see Michael Irvin on the sideline of that Cotton Bowl?
He is nuts. Listen, I don't know what he's on, but he's high
on something.
He's high on life. He's having the time of his life. He's reliving it all.
That's right.
Did he overlap with Cristobal? I'm trying to remember. Were they teammates?
I feel like they were, because like Jimmy Johnson was in tears like after the game. And Mario Cristobal, when he was getting interviewed, he was like, "This is for you, JJ. This is for you." And Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Johnson, he'll tear up in a heartbeat this point of his life, which is beautiful to see. Ain't nothing wrong with crying. But Jimmy Johnson, yeah, sometimes them emotions can be overwhelming. And he loves him some Miami. He loves his old players. So I get him being moved by Mario Cristobal and the U having success like they're having right now.
So Michael Irvin was out of Miami right before Mario got there.
Okay.
Irvin was done in 87, and Cristobal got there in 89. So, but yeah, Mike's on the sideline every game.
Every game. You got to keep him on. Like, you make sure he's there against Ole Miss. He has to be there. It's a part of the superstition. Like, he has to be there. He has to have his bell where he's spanking the Gatorade jug, and he has to be on all fours on the sideline. And you got to let him interact with the players, because for some reason they allow that, but it's working. It's working. He's been in College Station. He's been in Dallas. So now he has to keep showing up. He's He's kind of like the mascot, man. He's kind of like the mascot. That dude loves Miami. Loves it. Fort Lauderdale kid. He loves it.
Loves it. They got Ray Lewis was on the sideline for that game too.
Yeah, Ray was calm, ironically.
Yeah, Ray's in a suit. Michael's in some T-shirt that he picked up at the concession stand or something. It's funny,
I love Playmaker. I love Playmaker, man.
All right.
That's what I'm talking about, the Miami Hurricanes. We got this, baby. We're the best team in the world. Nobody represents you, baby. Come on.
Damn, I got my Miami colors on today.
I just noticed that.
I didn't even realize that.
He did not kill a guy. Don't put that on Ray, Derek. He did not kill a guy. The suit was bloody. It happens. Ray, innocent.
Let's just say he was not convicted.
No, what do you mean? That means he didn't do it.
What do you mean?
He's not convicted. He didn't kill nobody.
Hey, you got to have a fall guy.
Wow, man. Y'all doing Ray wrong. Just a Hall of Fame linebacker, in my opinion. That's all
I love Ray Lewis. That whole speech he gave after they lost in the AFC Championship, he's like, this is not who you are, man. You know, you're going to be judged not by this game, but by what kind of a father you are and what kind of a husband you are. And so let's go forward and let's work. Let's do our best and come back next year and show them what we're all about. I was like, damn.
Yeah, he found God and stuff. Yeah, I love Ray.
Yeah.
I love Ray. He didn't do nothing, y'all. Come on.
All right, let's get
convicted.
Hey, let me tell you about cover three. Cover three. We got games coming up. Speaking of which, Miami's playing Ole Miss on Thursday night in Phoenix. Make your plans now. Grab your friends. Head over to cover three. High-end food without the high-end prices. Love the brick chicken and mac and cheese. I mean, love it. Can't talk about it enough. The Sean Adams prime rib sandwich. The Chop House burger, the Texas Monthly calls one of the best in the state of Texas. I mean, great food. And if you go for happy hour, 3:30 to 6:30 every day, 3:30 to close on Mondays, you got the $7 social hour menu as an option, firecracker shrimp, the bacon deviled eggs, the big chicken slider. Oh, yeah. Cover three is where it's at. Don't forget about brunch on the weekends. The breakfast quesadilla that I love. The do-it-yourself Bloody Mary bar. Oh, yeah. Cover three Anderson. Cover three Round Rock. And, hey, it's 2026. Let's get healthy. Let's get healthy. Let's do it the Humann way. Humann with two N's. I love Humann. I can't tell you. I could show you all the supplements I have in cupboards that I have since said enough because I'm all about Humann. This is the science-backed award-winning research done at the University of Texas Health Science Center. And I'm going to show you three bottles: the Metabolic Health Daily, the Cardiovascular Health Daily, and the Cholesterol Health Daily. But this isn't just like fish oil. This is the good cholesterol that you need. This is advanced formulas. The cardiovascular formula that's going to help you with, good blood flow. That's what we need at this point as we age. And the Metabolic Health Daily, which is going to help with, your blood sugar, because you need to have the right blood sugar so that you're not getting adult onset diabetes. You get the cardiovascular, metabolic, and cholesterol health daily from Humann. You're going to feel like a new person. But you also need to get these Super Beats Heart Chews, because this is going to help if you've ever had any high blood pressure situations. This is going to help you regulate that blood pressure 2 times more effectively than just diet and exercise. Cardiologists say that the beet-based formula for those Super Beats Heart Chews are their most recommended. And of course, don't forget about these turmeric chews that help with anti-inflammation. I played some tennis early this morning, and I hit these turmeric chews to help. I took my Super Beats sports powder, which all the UT athletes take. Took that about 30 minutes before I went out to play. And then you hit the turmeric chews to make sure that you're controlling your inflammation. You're working out. You don't want to be in pain. Now, you go to Humann with 2Ns.com/TSU. Use the promo code TSU, and you're going to get 20% off your first order. So load up, because there's a 90-day money-back guarantee. Get multiple bottles of the metabolic, the cardiovascular, the cholesterol health daily. Get multiple bags of the Super Beats Heart Chews and the turmeric chews. Get you some of that super, the sports powder, the Super Beats sports powder that all the UT athletes drink, and you're going to feel great. Your brain fog's going to be gone. You're going to feel younger, better, stronger. Just saying. Let's do it. All right. For the chip shot today, I just want to say, listen, don't lose your mind. Don't lose your mind over the portal right now. And because you're going to feel one way about everything that's happening right now. Then you're going to feel another way when the portal closes. You're not going to know who's doing what until we see them in the games too. I talk about it all the time. Ryan Perrilloux. He was supposed to be the quarterback after Vince Young, not Colt McCoy. Ryan Perrilloux committed to Texas. Then he signed with LSU. Colt McCoy, how'd he do? He was never supposed to play. Last year, the big running back in the portal was Jaden Ott. Remember? From Cal. He didn't do nothing this year at OU. Not a thing. So you just got to have patience. You got to see what it looks like. Not only right now, because you may have your heart set on a player, and that player may not sign with Texas. But look at the players they do sign. If it's Raleek Brown from Arizona State, you can feel really good about Raleek Brown. That dude's got some burst, 6.1 a carry, over 1,000 yards this past season. And you're like, well, who's Raleek? Okay, go look at the highlights. You're going to be fine. You're going to be happy as long as he signs with Texas. And then, hey, these offensive linemen, that's where Texas needs to nail it. They got to make sure that they nail the offensive line. So keep your eye on the prize. And you know, the one area I've never really questioned Sark on is receiver. Because that dude got Xavier Worthy here his first year. And that kid he almost broke the single season touchdown record as a freshman. He had 12 touchdown catches. Shipley has the record with 13. So, I mean, I wasn't crazy about Ryan Wingo as a number one receiver this past year. Ryan Wingo with the ball in his hands looks great. Yards after catch, it's just getting that catch. I need him to.
Kind of important. That's kind of a big deal.
Make the window.
Yeah.
Catch with your hands like Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra catches every damn thing with his hands. That's the best receivers. Jerry Rice with his hands.
All right, man.
Calvin Johnson. They don't basket catch it.
The greatest. The greatest ever. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Oh, I hear you.
Catch it with your hands. But look, you're going to feel some kind of way today. You're going to feel some kind of way at the end of the portal closing. And then you got to wait and see who actually gets it done on the field. Because Jaden Ott, that was a big to-do. Remember?
Yeah, that was a whiff, OU.
That was a whiff.
That
dude ran for 68 yards this year. And
was he hurt?
Yeah, people were like, was he hurt? Is he hurt? Well, he was hurt in fall camp. But then he played, and then he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
So
just stealing money.
Don't get all twisted, because sometimes the 5-star doesn't pan out. It's the 3-star who's hungry like the wolf, who gets it done. So I like it when Texas goes and finds these guys who are good players on bad teams who are hungry, like Mike Masunis. You know, I want hungry wolves. Just saying. I know Zay's probably going to get us a little preview of Texas, Tennessee tonight, or maybe not. Maybe he'll just skip it. I don't know.
No, I'm not skipping it, but not looking forward to it.
Let's get to the right call.
Let's get it. Before that, though, shout out to Covert BK, family owned and operated. We're looking for a car dealership. Don't look any further. Covert BK, they got you. 7 terrific brands to choose from. You want to take my word for how great Covert BK is, which I am a customer of Covert BK. Listen to these fine folks of Covert BK.
You see Covert everywhere. That personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever. All right, Chip, Texas basketball in Knoxville, 8 p.m. tonight. Play against Tennessee, who is pissed off because they lost in Fayetteville to Arkansas on Saturday. Tennessee is the best offensive rebounding team in the nation. Tennessee is a top 10 defensive team in the nation. They like to play 3 6'10" and up guys majority of the game, or at least 3 bigs, because they're all world, versatile, future top 10 freshmen. Nate Ammett, who could play, he's 6'10", which people are saying he's more 7 foot than he is 6'10". He could do a little bit of everything. I think the thing that he is dealing with, which a lot of freshmen have to deal with when they're the best player, is trying to find their place, because you got grown-ass men, 23, 24-year-olds on the team, for an 18-year-old to establish themselves as the best player. That's tough because you don't want to step on any toes, but he is their best player overall. Again, inside out, he's a problem. Texas, their lack of size, that's just going to be the issue tonight. Point blank, period. Like, anything that Shawn Miller draws up, all right, you might have the advantage, so you think, but it's going to come down to just simple basketball plays being made. Can you, against the best offensive rebounding team in the nation, only force 1 shot? Can you get that defensive rebound? Can you play defense without fouling? We have seen in Texas quad 1 games this year, that's what they struggle with. Both of those things. You know, Shawn Miller, as he said this past Saturday after the Mississippi State loss, therefore, it's giving them nothing. The power forward position is giving Texas nothing, whether it's Cam Heide, Nick Cody, who doesn't play anymore, or if you move Lassina Traore to that spot, 4 spots not giving you anything. So much so, you have to play Dalen Swain at the 4, which offensively, I don't think against Tennessee because they match up so well against Texas. Offensively, Texas would have an advantage most of the time. Against Tennessee, they're not going to have the advantage. Defensively, they really aren't going to have the advantage because you got all those bigs to deal with, and they have good guard play. Jacoby Gillespie, who came from Maryland last year, he was part of that very famous Crab 5 team where the whole starting 5 was averaging over double digits and made that run in the NCAA tournament. This guy's a stud. He is just as good as Josh Hubbard, who you saw in Mississippi State, but he's a smarter player than Josh Hubbard because he doesn't have to take the shots that Hubbard takes because he has better players around him. So if they win this game, it will be a huge upset. I don't see it happening. I can see it being a 15-point loss or so. They're not going to allow Dalen Swain to take over the game offensively like Mississippi State did. They just have too many bodies that they could throw at them. They got Casey down low who came from Vanderbilt. That dude is just a hoss on the inside. Estrella's around 7 foot. You could see a lineup with Estrella, who's around 7 foot, Carey, who's about 6'9", and just wide and physical, and Ament on the court all at the same time. That's 6'10", 6'9", around 7 foot. Texas has nothing that can compare to that. So, yeah, this is going to be a tough stretch. They needed that game against Mississippi State because now you got Alabama after that. Somehow Vanderbilt is undefeated this year. They're one of the best teams in the conference, which the team last year with Rodney Terry and Trey Johnson in them, if they played in this year's SEC, oh, man, this might be a 6th seed, 5th seed in this year's SEC. SEC is pretty weak this year compared to last year. Last year, it was like every night you're facing the team that can make the Sweet 16. So it's ironic that Texas this year has looked as bad as they have when they should be more competitive in a weaker conference. But that's just not the case. The personnel, it's not what Shawn Miller wants it to be. Year one, I'm giving them a little bit of grace. But also, dude, you should have known Nick Cody wasn't ready. You should have known Cam Heide wasn't going to bring anything to your team. You should have known Lassina Traore wasn't going to.
How can you say that?
Easy. I watched Purdue. I watched him.
He's hitting 51% of his threes.
Chip, if you can't get your shot off, that's irrelevant, dude.
You got to swing the ball.
Dude, he's not that good. They're not that good where they could create. If they had TJ Ford on their team, then Cam Heide would be useful because you have one of the greatest point guards to ever touch a basketball in college basketball creating. They don't have nobody like that. Jordan Pope can't do that. Samia Wilcher can't do that. Cam Heide needs help. A lot of help. So if you're not going to have guys that can help a Cam Heide, don't bring him on and expect him to be your 4. It's tough. It's
tough.
I agree.
I don't know about him.
I'm still confused on Daru. Why isn't Declan Daru playing? Like, I'm still he has to be the worst practice player in the world. Like, ever. Maybe ever. Like, he might be turning it over every play. I don't know what's going on. For him to not even get a whiff of playing time with how bad the 4 position is, it's odd. It's just odd. Some of these decisions this coaching staff's making is very odd.
Well, if they're not playing, then they need to be getting coached up in practice so that they're getting better. So that you can develop them into something in a game or 2 or 3 or 4 from now. Like, you got to coach your whole roster.
Yeah.
And that was always, the magic of Pop. He coached his whole roster. He's always trying to coach up those guys at the bottom of the roster, the young guys.
Oh, yeah.
So that they develop into a guy who can help you.
Yeah. Patty Mills shouldn't have been a good NBA player.
And he stuck around.
He got Patty Mills hooping, hitting big shots. Yeah, this is just a dud year.
Coaching Declan Daru and Nick Cody, and I don't know, set some screens for my man Cam Heide so he can. I just see 51%, and he's it's 37 threes he's taken. He's hit 51% of them. I mean, it's not.
So, Steve Kerr is one of the greatest free throw shooters of all time, but Steve Kerr wasn't getting fouled because he can't drive, he can't dribble. So nobody really knows how good of a free throw shooter Steve Kerr is because we don't see that. That's the same with Cam Heide. He don't even look at the basket. He can't get his shot off. It's weird. He's the most athletic person I've ever seen in my life.
Right. He can go up and get tip dunks and.
Yeah, he could jump, but when it comes to like lateral movement and I don't know, it's weird. It's weird. And I know my man Patrick went off yesterday on Shawn Miller. You know what I'm saying? I know Patrick, he didn't hold nothing back on Shawn Miller yesterday. Speaking of those guys, let's bring them on. Patrick, Matt, Open Gym. What's happening, fellas?
What's going on, man?
Patrick, you were hard on Shawn Miller yesterday, dog.
I can't wait till tonight when he blames it on his players again for not learning anything. You're the teacher. You are supposed to teach them. You can't tell me that I'm sorry. I told him not to foul. Did you teach him how to play defense? No, I just told him not to foul. Well, have you taught him how to play defense any other way? Change your lineup, put other guys in, put their ass on the bench. What's old Bob Knight? Ass meat bench, and you sends a signal to Brain. Try that. I get you only got 6 players, but there's a decent chance we do not win another game this season. Pretty decent chance. 50-50. We don't win another game this season.
God, we're going back to the Tevin Mack era.
I'm saying it. Like, the way we don't play defense, this team's going to give up on him in 2 weeks when he keeps telling them they suck and not coaching them up. Like, there's a decent chance. I want it to turn around. Ain't going to turn around tonight. But also say this. If Chris Ogden's the GM again next year, Texas basketball ain't serious about winning. He's put together 3 crap rosters in a row.
His son.
I don't care.
Austin
Wait,
Kobe.
do we have 8 players on this roster, Zay? Who's the GM? I know it's not his final say, but we got to put somebody else that knows how to put together a roster, right?
I need a point guard.
I need 5 other players.
Yo, hey, Chip, we got to go see Bo, by the way. I'm going to look at them Westlake.
I don't want to lose Bo Ogden, but man, I can't keep putting together players based on the best they play. Like, you look, Cam Heide, if you want to say 51%, you know what stat I looked at last night? 0 for 1. He shot 1 shot.
I know.
Can't get it on.
If you shoot 90% and you shoot the one that misses, it doesn't matter. The other 9 you didn't
I know
take.
his teammates don't look for him at all. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe
That's
he's
the
got bad
coach.
breath.
That's the coach.
I know.
Look, all I'm saying is I want the same energy. Rodney Terry coached his team better last year. All I'm saying.
I'll let you carry on with that.
He did. Just a fact. Appreciate y'all coming in. Welcome into Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Matty Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text line's open, 512-222-9328. And over there on Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Look, Matt, I hate to start off with hot takes like this, but the reality is the team was coached better last season. I think Shawn Miller is going to be a better coach, but good Lord, it's been hard to watch. And now we're going up against Rick Barnes, and it's just going to make Texas fans sad again tonight, Matt.
Well, I don't know. Is Tennessee good? I haven't been paying attention. They're better than Texas. I can tell you that without looking at their record or their players or anything like that. And Rick Barnes is a hell of a coach. I believe him to be a hell of a coach, and I wish he never would have left, quite honestly. It was probably time to move on when he did, and I understand the reasons for him wanting to do so. But isn't it a new new powers that be? Why don't you come back, Rick Barnes, save this team from itself?
Look, I was covering Texas stuff then too, and Rick Barnes wasn't recruiting in the way he needed to, and at a certain point, and look, being at Texas for basketball is really, really hard. And I'll start off by saying that I don't think Shawn Miller had any clue what Texas basketball was. And hopefully he figures it out, and then next year things will start to turn in the right direction. I'm not selling out on Shawn Miller. There's a lot of very smart people at Texas who wanted him to come in. A lot of people who cover the game who like what he does. So I'm not saying that I'm this genius who's figured it all out in 12 games and he shouldn't be able to coach Texas anymore. Not saying that. I am saying I think he came in expecting to be able to recruit easier than Xavier, and then realized it wasn't really that much easier to recruit here than it was at Xavier. That it's like you are Texas and there's a little bit more money, but now people expect it to be so much more that it becomes a different thing. And now everybody wants you to get 5-star recruits, and you didn't have to at Xavier. And it's just a way different ball game. It's not Arizona, because Arizona, there's a lot of guys that still stay around that program. And there is a glory days of Arizona basketball that there just isn't really at Texas. We had our glory days, but not in the national spotlight as much. So it's just a really, really difficult program to build up. And I don't know if Shawn Miller was ready to come in and build a program from scratch. And That was the difference. Is he came in thinking he could just pick up and do better, and he hasn't done that. So unless he wants to, he just needs to change his thinking. Going in to be and stop complaining about this roster. Stop it. Stop it. I don't care if you lose by 50 tonight. Stop.
Well, here's what I'll say about the people who are already calling for his job. It's year one.
Mm-hmm.
People were saying the same thing about Steve Sarkisian when he went 5-7.
Oh, I agree. I'm not calling for his job.
I'm not saying, I've seen it in the chat, not from you, Patrick. So I'm just saying, just maybe he's not the guy, but maybe he just needs some time to get the right players on the roster. I'm not sure Chris Beard was the guy. Eventually, that was a powder keg that was going to burst, Randy. So,
and there was a lot of things in the Chris Beard. We never really got to see it fully play out. I know there was things that were positive in the beginning and things that were negative in the beginning. Here the dogs is messing with us now. I'll say
yes.
I think there's a lot that goes into it more than just year one and walking in. But the reality is I really don't think he had any clue of what he was walking into. And they did not set him up for that. There isn't the infrastructure in Texas basketball to give somebody that heads up. And you don't want to tell someone before they take the job. And it's kind of hard to break them in and go, hey, by the way, it wasn't just Rodney Terry. There's other issues that are deep seated. There's a reason why Rick Barnes had troubles winning here. But look, Rick Barnes is still not winning national titles at Tennessee. He's just consistently putting them back in the top 25, and we've fallen out of that. He needs to get us back into that, and then we can discuss where we go from Shawn Miller. If he can't get us back into being a top 25 team regularly, then next year, then it is all right. You don't belong here. You don't fit in. It's just not for you. Not a bad coach, just not everybody fits in everywhere. But that's a year away. We're a year and a half away. So it is what it is. But it makes me frustrated because I don't want to. I don't like watching it when Texas puts out a really bad product on the court and it doesn't seem to be really getting better. Now, there were signs early. Tremont Mark started to get better, and then you could tell that Tremont Mark started to figure out the offense. You went, okay. And Dalen Swain had his best game of the year, and he got fouled out, but he had his best game of the year. But you just want to see the progress continue, at least like how Texas football did, Matt, with that. Even though they started off not being the team they needed to be, by the end of the season, you saw a much better Texas team.
Mm-hmm.
They still weren't a national championship team, but they were much better. And with Texas basketball, I'm like, you're not going to be a, Sweet 16 team by any stretch of the imagination by the end of the season, but you could be a team that were like, okay, they're around the bubble. They win 6-7 more games near the end of the season and start to pull better. But if they don't, then it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
Yeah,
I get that, Randy. He 100%. Chris Beard totally got the program back on track in every other way than necessarily on the court. And if they would have found the right offensive mind to put with him, then there's a possibility it could have worked. But his complete lack of caring about the offensive side of the basketball was going to be his undoing until they figured that out. That's the basic premise. All he cared about was defense. He didn't care. Like, he would kill offenses so fast. So there was a reason. And at Tech, he had that. Tech, he also hit the transfer portal situation way faster than everybody else did. He was ahead of that curve. That curve had caught up to him at Texas. And so there was peace there. And CB, he did have to be fired. I was there that night sitting with Craig Way and Eddie, and we were sitting there when everybody walked out of the tunnel, and it was like, no, it's not happening. So I get all that. I'm just talking basketball sense of in the what if world of Chris Beard. The what if world of it was he was a really, really good defensive coach, but his offenses would be super, super under assuming and like he would take guys out. They would hit 2 threes in a row, and then he'd go, it doesn't matter. We have a defensive rotation. They pull him out of the game, and our offense would suck for the next 8 minutes because you pulled out a hot hand. So stuff like that of just coaching to a system, not coaching, but with feel, I think is always going to kind of hurt you in the grand scheme of things. So that was always my problem. He could have grown with it, though. So there is always a what if. Does he grow with it? Does he figure it out? Does he get the right assistant? But I still think it was several years away from actually being a contender team.
I didn't like Chris Beard. I thought he was a good defensive coach. He's the Ole Miss coach now, and I don't like him. There's just something that's always rubbed me the wrong way about him. Some of the stuff that happened obviously played a role in that, but also, I just don't. I thought he was a good fit. I thought him and Sark coming in around the same time was pretty cool. Texas Longhorns on SI actually broke the story that he was being hired by Texas. Funny enough, when that happened back in the day. But regardless, it's fine. Move on. We're with Shawn Miller now, and Shawn Miller is the guy that's going to have the reins for the next couple years. And if that doesn't end up working out, then they'll move on to somebody else, probably, another mid-tier coach. I think Shawn Miller's their best chance for success right now. I don't know what it would look like after him. So kind of in the same way that, well, just real quick, like kind of in the same way that Patrick and I were talking about before they fired Rodney Terry, you better have the right guy lined up before you fire him. Just firing him for firing him's sake is going to get you nowhere. So in the same situation later down the line that Shawn Miller maybe doesn't work out, which I still think he will.
I'm hoping. You
better have the right guy lined up before you just jump and move on. Like some of the college football programs are doing now.
No, and I think that transitions into the portal and where with Texas football right now, and where Texas football is at, because you are looking at it and saying, I've always get a little annoyed at some of the rhetoric by just some fans, some people who work for different sites, but people who cover the teams, that a player is great when they play for Texas, and they're great when they're coming here, and then when they're not coming here, they're no longer great. And I've always been during this cycle and during the transfer portal and through everything else, I'm all optimism and let's go fix the team, but let's be real about it now. Let's be real about it now, because we can't be real about it once the season starts. Once the season starts, our roster is our roster, right? We can't change it anymore. So I tend to be more that, and then I see so many other people who will get on board and they'll pretend that this is the era that we should proclaim national championships because we got this guy signed and this guy's off our roster now, and he was a cancer, and now we got this guy, so we're going to be great. And then as soon as the season starts and the guy drops a pass, you're like, what a bum. And you're like, wait a minute, you told me he was going to be great 6 months ago. So I think all of those pieces in it, like in the transfer portal, and I'll answer coming. There's Texas winning the national title and Texas Tech was because they hit the transfer portal at the right time. Chris Beard was ahead of the trend, and once he did it, everyone caught up. So at Texas, it was just way harder. Texas Tech has not gotten close to that since they got ahead of the trend, but it was being about ahead of the trend, which I'll give Chris Beard much credit for. He was ahead of the trend. And Trey Johnson, while we can say was wasted at Texas, also would have never come if not for Rodney Terry. So him and Rodney Terry were a package. He only came here because of Rodney Terry. He did not want to go to Texas. He wanted to go to Baylor, but he was good. He came to Texas because of Rodney Terry. So that also fits in that if you still had Chris Beard, and also he would never have played for Chris Beard, not in a million years, because Chris Beard doesn't care about offense. So he would never have played for him. But I get where it's we got breaking news.
It's NFL news, but it's pretty big.
Okay.
John Harbaugh was just fired by the Baltimore Ravens.
All right. We'll get into that in a minute too then, because that's not wildly surprising, but it does somewhat fall into our overreactions later, because I told you there's an overreaction, so we may talk about it then. But that is surprising news of John Harbaugh. Somewhat surprising, not wildly surprising. There's always a firing every year in the NFL that's like that. And yeah, CB, they've wasted a lot, but there's a lot of teams who have just not been able to put it together. College basketball is a weird game right now. Also, Duke is just owning like so much of getting the young recruits right now. So it's nuts right now of what Duke is doing. But let's go back into talking about the transfer portal. We'll get back to Texas basketball a little bit later. We'll get into the Harbaugh news a little bit later in the show, but we always want to try and stay Texas football to start off the show. And I won't rant and rave anymore about Texas basketball for a little bit. I'll do it later. But talking about the transfer portal and the news that comes out, And Matt, we did get more news today that the name that everyone had kind of been assuming was penciled in for Texas and was the guy that you hired, Jabbar Jaluk, and you put together the package and you let Trey Wisner and CJ Baxter walk. You do all of that. Everyone assumes Jaden Ball is the number one target coming to Texas. He earlier today says, I am staying at Florida. Good for Florida. They get to stay where he's at. He is no longer entering the portal. And that takes a big name off the board for Texas now in one of the positions that is a major need for Texas for next season.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are now in a position that they are now having to trying to find who the next running back for Texas is going to be. And Matt, they've made a push for a guy who I believe is visiting now or visiting tomorrow. Is he visiting now?
Raleek Brown?
Yeah.
I believe he's visiting today.
Okay.
Or no. Sorry. Jabbar Jaluk was going to visit him first, and then he was coming to Austin.
Okay.
And then after that, he's supposed to figure out whether or not he's going to take a visit to Alabama, but Alabama just got a commitment from Hollywood Smothers from NC State. So considering they're very similar type backs, that would seem a little bit redundant to me. I think it's safe to say that Texas is in the driver's seat right now for Raleek Brown, who also visited Indiana. That should be mentioned, but I think they're in really good position with him. And there's other running backs out there. Like I was all in on Jaden Ball too. There was a scenario in which Texas was probably saying to themselves, we can get Jaden Ball and we can get Isaac Brown.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But just because that's not going to happen anymore doesn't mean that it's going to be a total loss of the position. I think Raleek Brown is a very easy replacement for the Isaac Brown hopes. Very similar type backs. Raleek Brown, he's very similar to what Jaden Blue would have been for Texas. Very fast home run hitter type guy, except there's a little bit of a difference. He doesn't fumble the ball nearly as much, so that's really nice. Very, very dynamic guy. And then there's a couple other running backs I can get into in a little bit too, but there's still plenty of options out there, probably some who haven't entered the portal yet. People are still pouring into the portal as we go on. So yeah, it's a big hit. It sucks. We all wanted Jaden Ball, but it's time to move on.
No, I agree. You have to keep moving on. The Raleek Brown signing, or the interest in Raleek Brown, I do think he is an interesting back to bring in. But he is definitely not, in my opinion. He's got more news happening.
Sorry. One of the running backs that I was going to talk about just committed somewhere. So shit.
There we go. Now Matt's out on it. Raleek Brown, though, he's an interesting back, but he's also not an answer to any of your real problems of what you had at running back last year. He is not a make your own way kind of back. In some of the games where you look against Texas Tech, who's a really good defense this season. He had 19 carries for 69 yards, 3.6 yards per carry. So not necessarily what you needed out of what you're really looking for, what you didn't have last year. So he is a really good addition, a good piece, but he doesn't necessarily up what you had already this season of some guys who can catch the ball out of the backfield, maybe break you a big play. He's probably a better big play threat than Trey Wisner is, but not necessarily as good as in between the tackle runner. In some big moments. He did it really, really well against non-cons for Arizona State this year. Had 100 yards, 110 yards against Mississippi State, had 144 yards against Texas State, had a huge game against Colorado with 255 yards. So he's had some big games, but I don't know if he's necessarily, he's definitely not an every down back for you.
No, I don't think he's a number one back necessarily. He's, like I said, he's what Jaden Blue was for this team.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You need both types. You needed to bring in two running backs regardless. I feel like you needed a home run guy and you needed a kind of a heavy hitter type guy. And there's a few things to point out here about Raleek Brown that I think are really important. in terms of how he compares favorably to Jaden Blue. Sorry. They're both super fast. They're both very quick. They both have game-breaking speed. They're both very difficult to tackle in a phone booth. They're great out of the backfield as receiving threats. They both excel in the outside zone runs, which Texas runs a ton, or they'd like to run a ton next year as well. Obviously, like I said, Brown doesn't fumble the ball nearly as much. He only fumbled twice this year, once in week 4, once in week 13. Blue fumbled 5 times in 2024, including twice in one game against Mississippi State. So that's something to consider. But also the home run ability, I get, people talk about the Big 12 and they're like, oh, it's not SEC defenses and blah, 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 blah. And we do that sometimes too.
Yeah.
But he had 31 carries of 10 plus yards in 2025. And Jaden Blue, who we considered this explosive, game-breaking, do-it-all back, had far less. He only had 13 in 2024, whereas Brown only had 50 more rushing attempts. His this other stat that I really like a lot that I found on PFF, breakaway percentage, which is the percentage of rushing yards on design attempts that go for more than 15 yards. Blue had 39.6% of his carries go as breakaway runs. Brown's was just a shade under 46%. So he was much more explosive, able to get away from people. He's a little bit stronger, I think a little bit more physical of a runner than Jaden Blue was, but the comp is still there. Obviously, that's a really important piece to add to your running back room because you don't have that.
Yeah.
And that's really important to think about.
No, I agree. I think he'd be a really good addition for this Texas football team because you do look at some of the guys you have as well that you're hoping to step up, but you just don't really know what they're going to be yet in Christian Clark and Cooper. And Cooper, I think Cooper is going to be a really good bag. I don't trust true freshmen to be critical parts of championship teams. It's a lot to ask. So every once in a while you get a guy who is going to be part of that, but it's really just a ton to ask of a true freshman to be a critical part of a championship team. You be good, do all those things. So it's just, I don't expect to put that on him his freshman season while he gets to learn the game a little bit better. And as Texas goes, you have to now look around at what running backs are in the portal, which ones may be entering the portal. We know that Humann Lacey, who had a great season for Ole Miss, has now said he will not be entering the portal as well. And it's, and it's time that Texas is going to have to figure out what other targets they have been looking at, because right now there's, you feel like this is what I was looking at today, man, was looking at Texas. I was going, why am I not as confident as Matt in what they're going to do in the portal? Why am I not? What's setting me off in this? And I realize what it is, and I don't like it. And I hope that they finish out this offseason to make what I'm about to say completely asinine. But as of right now, the reason why I feel like I feel about Texas football is because right now they are running the Dallas Cowboys playbook. And that is why I do not have faith in it right now.
Explain.
The Dallas Cowboys playbook is have a season that went under what you assumed it would be, which is what Texas did. Did not make the playoffs, underachieve of what you thought. Then come out and say, guys, we know what's up. We're going to change a coach. We're going to go all in. And then you start to let some of your players walk that are people really like. You start to let them walk. And I'm not saying, just saying you let some of your players walk. And you go, okay. And they go, no, couldn't afford to keep them. Not saying Texas is wrong, but that's what they do. Dallas does this. Then the Cowboys go out and they go, well, we couldn't get that guy. It's too much money. Guys, we can't get that guy. That would ruin it. That's not how you run a good franchise. And you go, but didn't you just say you were all in? Didn't you say you were going to do this? And now you're not doing that. You're coming back and you want to just lie to our faces and tell us that you're going to change and you're going to be the same guy. But now you're somehow letting some other guys go and just replacing them. And you start to get in the cycle of new instead of better. And it's the Cowboys cycle. I don't think the Texas Longhorns are going to do that, Matt. but the playbook has been the same so far. So I need to see the playbook change for Texas in this portal where they start to go out and land some of these guys, because right now we are a much worse team than we were last season, talent-wise.
See, I don't know that I agree with
early.
that.
It's early. It's early. We will get more players. But as of right now, we are a much worse team because we've lost many players and not replaced them. Just defensively, we are gutted like so far.
Well, I mean, you're gutted because you lost Anthony Hill and Michael Taff.
Manny Muhammad and Ethan Burke.
Manny Muhammad. Okay. Jalen Gilbo was a net negative. Not a big deal. Ethan Burke, yeah, big loss. You got Lance Jackson. You're going to be okay. I agree with you that they haven't landed the players right off the bat that everybody expected. Because going into this thing, everybody was like, oh, we're going to get Jaden Ball. We're going to get Isaac Brown. We're going to get Cam Coleman. We're going to get this guy. We're going to get that guy. And it's just, I think that it's still a situation like, let's just see how it plays out. I don't think that they're not taking an all-in approach. I just don't think that they want to pay their number 1 or number 4 wide receiver Parker Livingstone almost $1 million.
I'm not even talking about Parker Livingstone. I get that he is that. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Trey Wisner and DeAndre Moore.
Okay,
you need to replace
DeAndre Moore.
Better players.
Again, DeAndre Moore. Sure, I think that he probably part of that decision was his own because he wants to be a number 1 wide receiver, and he's never going to be a number 1 wide receiver at Texas. I think people are overrating Trey Wisner to a massive extent because of the way that he played in rivalry games. Okay? He's not the most physically gifted running back in the world. Yes, he's a great leader. He's a great teammate. We all loved him for what he did against Texas A&M, against Oklahoma, and against, some of these other games where he showed up. But that doesn't mean that by bringing in Raleek Brown, for example, which they haven't done yet, but it looks like they're going to do, hopefully, that he's not going to be a better player than Trey Wisner. CJ Baxter was not the same player that he was pre-injury. You could bring in Caden Durham from LSU, and that would be an upgrade on CJ Baxter. I know that for a fact they're on the road right now going and talking to a couple of offensive linemen from Michigan. They're in the conversation for Jacarius Peak from NC State. Which probably hinges on what happens with these Michigan offensive linemen to a certain extent. They made an upgrade at defensive tackle, and I think that they're going to make a couple upgrades at linebacker. I still think that all of these players are going to get there. It may not be the exact same blueprint that we thought it was going to be coming into the transfer portal, and things rarely are. But at the end of the day, I think that they have their plan, and they're going to stick to their plan, and it's going to end up being fine. Even if Cam Coleman ends up at Alabama or Texas Tech, which I would hate because I think he's the best wide receiver in the portal by a mile. But if they don't win him, or if they don't win with him, then they'll find somebody else, and maybe it won't be as exciting and all that stuff, but they will find a way to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, look, and again, Cam Coleman's not my sticking point on any of this. Because I'd love to have Cam Coleman, but again, I don't like we got Ryan Wingo. I hope he plays better this season. I know he dropped too many balls this year. He needs to play better. I think there's going to be other wide receivers in that portal and a lot of guys you can go get. You got a lot of young talent there. The running back one to me is a big one. I just disagree with you. I think Trey Wisner was a better player. I thought he was not used well this year, but I think Trey Wisner was a good player, and I think he's a much better player than Raleek Brown is. Just watching Raleek Brown. I didn't watch his whole season. I watched a lot of his highlights, and all of his really good plays were against bad teams. And so overall, and this is watching highlights, so it's not a great, not a scouting report or anything. But I watched a lot of what he did, and I agree with you. He fits into the boutique back category, which is great if we had other backs. But I'm saying, am I going to rely on Christian Clark to be our every down back next year or a true freshman? Because right now, that's what it is. I think we're going to go out and get some other guys. But I want to know, Matt, what are the other names that I'm supposed to be going out and doing a bunch of research on that I think are, man, these are serious big upgrades? I think Caden Durham's an interesting one. Caden Durham has to go into the world of, we have to fix other pieces because clearly he couldn't get it done at LSU too, but he just wasn't, you getting the ball a ton. They were constantly behind and throwing the football. So it's kind of skewed. He did have some decent games of yards per carry. even though he only got like 5 or 6 carries in it. So stuff like that, you look at it and go, okay, his overall numbers weren't great, but he gets there. So it's an interesting name. But again, we haven't secured that yet. And Matt, I'm not trying to be sensational or anything else, sensationalize this and make it to be like, oh man, Texas is not going to get anybody and we're going to be a worse team next year. I'm not trying to say, because I think there is a lot of things still happening. But the process of where it has been going, where we're starting to see some of the names that when we were basically told by a lot of sources, don't worry. And we're on plan C and D now, because plan A and plan B have already fallen through. Those are where you go, okay, but what plan are we landing on where I can feel confident that what you guys thought was going to happen is going to happen? Or did you misjudge the portal completely and think you had some things lined up that you just didn't? And if you'd have that, you have to fix those again, because every year you can't be going in and losing out on a lot of different players because they're using you. Like, once you become a leverage for people to get more from their own school and not getting the players, it's a really bad sign, because it's not getting the players in. They're going to get good players, but I just need to see a little bit more action on it. So I know we have to wait. I know we have to wait.
I get that. And this stuff rarely goes, when you get to the portal, money starts getting thrown around, and this stuff rarely goes the way that it's supposed to go in your brain when you enter the window. I think that there's a lot of teams who are just throwing money around, hoping that shit sticks to the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And, like a Texas Tech, for example, throws $5 million at a quarterback who was okay in the Big 12 last year. He was good. He was fine. They weren't that great of a team. They were okay. And they're basically banking their entire season next year on him.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of stuff that you don't want to do. You can look at a couple of running backs. You mentioned Caden Durham, who I've talked about before, Mekhi Frazier from Michigan State. There's probably still running backs in the portal who have yet to enter that will be of interest to Texas, I would imagine. There's a lot of defensive guys that they're still very in on that I think, you're going to start to hear some good news about. Defensive lineman from LSU, Zion Williams, really big, really physical, really athletic guy. Good player. Cade Uolave from California, one of the best linebackers in the ACC, just entered the portal. Texas will be in on him. Guys like that. Bo Masco, who's visiting Texas, really good corner out of Rutgers. He's visiting Ohio State as well. So, if he's visiting Texas and Ohio State, you should probably feel good about him, because they usually recruit pretty good players. Texas probably has an in on him because of Mark Orfe. So there's still a lot to be done. Look, nobody is more devastated than me right now that Jaden Baugh decided to re-sign with Florida, because I had 5 stories written about Jaden Baugh for Texas Longhorns on SI as early as 2 weeks ago, as soon as Chip said that he was probably going to hit the portal. Yeah, I don't think that Chip was wrong either. I think at that time that was the consensus, and then Florida probably came in with a huge offer and got him to change his mind. That kind of happened. That kind of stuff happens all the time. Yeah, the Wisconsin linebacker Allegro, another really good player, very big, very athletic linebacker from the Big Ten, who's visited Texas and is visiting Ohio State. Like, there's battles that go on with this. It's not just. This is what I want a lot of people to understand about the transfer portal. It's not just, okay, we're Texas, we're going to pick every single player that we want, we're going to bring them in. And if we don't get every single player in the transfer portal that we think is good, it's a failure. You get players that fit your system, that have the physical traits that you want, that have the production that you want. And you still have to battle teams like Ohio State, Alabama, Florida, all these different teams for those players. Texas A&M, another team that's throwing a lot of money around. So it's not as easy as just like, oh, well, we didn't put enough money into this guy, so we didn't get him. It's maybe there's a better fit for him at this school, or he sees a better path to stardom, or a better fit in the offense, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of different stuff that goes on, and I really think that Texas is going to find the right guys. I still really do. And if it comes to 10 days from now and it's January 16th and I have to eat crow, then I will grill it up on my skillet out there and I will eat it live on camera. But for right now, I'm still very confident.
Here's the thing, though, Matt. I'm not talking about eating crow on the 16th. I mean, I'm talking about eating crow in the middle of next season when we go, hey, this guy that was new, who isn't necessarily doing the big thing because he was just new and shiny to us, and he's not an upgrade. He's just another dude. Like, I think, like, we've seen guys, they've done well in the past at getting some guys who are upgrades, and they've hit on some of them, and you miss on some of them. It is part of the transfer portal. You hit and you miss. Like, you're going out and you're trying to figure out, this guy played another conference. How is he going to be able to come together with it? Or, this guy's coming up from group of 6, and we think he's got a ton of talent. Can he play at our level? And then you get some other guys, why is this guy not playing on LSU? Why is this guy not succeeding at a big school? You have to go around and try and figure those out. The issue was Texas needed to upgrade their roster. This is what we all know going in. The roster offensively and defensively wasn't quite where offensively it was not where it needed to be, and defensively you just lost a lot of players to the draft. So you have to restock on the defense, get Will Muschamp what he needs. And offensively, you have to be able to run the football consistently. And until I believe they will be able to do that, I am going to be very cautious about doing anything in this, because my problem, what you were just saying, Matt, is true. And this is why I got worried about trying to go out and win in the portal, is we are not the only team in the portal who knows you have to be able to run the football to win. I mean, Oklahoma right now is trying to figure out how to run the football to win. Alabama trying to figure out how to run the football to win. Hell, Georgia's still trying to get better at running the football. They had a down year running the football. These are major programs who are trying to compete with us. Texas A&M, they go, we ran okay, but guys got hurt. We got to restock at the running back in the offensive line position. It's just hard to go in there. So as we see, look, and I don't want to promote tampering, but there will be much more tampering as the top running backs get picked up. The number is going to go up for some of these other guys, because when you miss out on who you need and it's not there, the number, I'm not saying for Texas, I'm saying for everybody. For everybody. It's not a general Texas thing. There's again 30, 40 teams right now looking for a new power running back who can pick him up 4 yards a carry. And so once those guys are all out of the portal, you start asking other guys to go get them. Like, it just is what it is. It's what college football is right now. So right now it's a tough road of, I'm with you. You have to be patient. You have to try and do things the right way. You're trying to get in the right fits as well. You don't want to bring in a cancer in your locker room. You've had those before. You've had guys that you thought were going to be a guy that you brought in. And I mean, I don't want to talk bad about the guy, but Jonte Cook was a guy that you brought in to help you get a pipeline to Duncanville and in Dallas, and you're trying to bring him in, and you thought, man, he's going to help us get Arch, and he's going to help us get all these things with Jonte Cook. And then his attitude didn't necessarily fit into what Sark wanted to do. And it ended up that he had to end up having mid-season exit from the Texas football program. That happens. So you're trying, I'm with you, Matt. You don't want to just go out and go, best guy, go get him. He's ranked a 5-star, go get him. So there are guys you have to go look at. But for me, that running back position is a big one. I was higher on Trey Wisner than you were, clearly. And I know he's not the answer. I wanted a supplementary back with him. And I think Raleek Brown is a good supplementary back, but I would like Trey Wisner, Raleek Brown, and a third guy. And so who's going to be that? I'm fine having a boutique back, but that's like we had Keelan Robinson alongside Bijan and Roshan. That was good. Power guy. We had a guy who could do it all, and we had our boutique guy in Jaden and Keelan Robinson, or we had Jaden Blue. We had some of those guys. I'm all for that to really get your running back room going. I'm not fully sold on it right now, and I won't be until it's done, and it worries me a little bit. My confidence still there. Still think Texas is going to get it done, but that was my worry of trying to play the portal more than you had in years past. Is it's a tough game. It's tough.
Hold on, I'm just Texas A&M gets another commitment, another guy that I have never heard of, and you will probably never hear of because he's a G5 guy. So let's be honest.
Yeah.
and I'm not yelling at you, Patrick. I'm yelling at the general Texas fan who's frustrated right now. Do we want to just go out and sign a bunch of G5 guys that that played pretty well at Tulsa and San Diego State and Jacksonville State and all that stuff? I mean, they've signed some Power 4 guys, but they've also signed a bunch of G5 guys as well. Or do we want to be patient and get the right players? Do we want to be Oklahoma and be like, ooh, Jaden Knott's a big shiny name, let's go get him, and then he does absolutely dog shit when he gets to our school? No, we don't. And that's and I'll say this too. When if I should say Texas signs Raleek Brown, which I'm hoping that they do, clearly, because I think he's a really good player. I would argue, and maybe this is a hot take to some, I would argue that Texas's running back room is already better than it was before, than it was last season with Trey Wisner in a shell of himself, CJ Baxter. So that's something to think about. And then you bring in another guy that can be your third guy, and you can have Raleek Brown and Christian Clark and this other guy who hopefully is a power back, and that gives you the guy that can do it all with Christian Clark, the boutique back with Raleek Brown, and the power guy with whoever it ends up being. I wanted it to be Adam Muhammad from Washington after Jaden Ball re-signed with Florida. He just committed to Cal, so screw me. Derek Cooper is also going to be a really good player. I also am like you. I don't want to, bet the house on a freshman running back being able to come in and carry your football team. It's happened very rarely over the past couple decades. Like you talk about like Willis McGahee, Maurice Claret.
Yeah.
Probably Bijan Robinson if Tom Herman had played him more.
but there was a lot of reasons that wasn't a national championship team already. So,
well, yes, but the point being,
yes,
you need to go out and find another guy, and they will go out and find another guy. They want to. I know everybody's also freaking out about the offensive line thing. I think that's going to be taken care of here pretty soon. Hopefully, by the time we get on tomorrow, so I don't have anything to yell about. We can celebrate the transfer portal.
I'm waiting for that day too, man. I'm waiting for that day too.
Yeah, it's just like we. I'm okay with Texas being selective rather than just star chasing, and going out and getting Jaden Knott so he can sit on your bench and not do anything is a waste of resources and a waste of a roster spot. So I'd rather them make sure that they're making sure that they're going out and getting a guy that can play for them next year and play a lot. And it seems like that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I really like Caden Durham a lot. And I know that he had a hard time at LSU last year because they couldn't run the football, but that offensive line was terrible. So get Caden Durham and get a couple offensive linemen in front of him, pair him with Raleek Brown, and we're cooking.
Yeah. No, good. And good shout out there, CB. And Said Benson. Said Benson was a beast as a free freshman. Yeah, that's good call on that. He was.
Hey, Cedric Benson. This picture. I'm turned around. This picture right here. No, that one right there.
That one. There, I guess. No, but that's I think there's probably still going to be some more names that go in the portal, but I think you start to go down, and it does start to drop a little bit more into these are guys that are fine, but they're not. There's no guarantee. Like we're playing into, and Raleek Brown for this is me too. I always will take the world I know versus the world I don't. I'm not going to gamble on that and go, no, I hope that he figures it out. And that's not saying he won't. That's not saying he can't. That's why those scouts for Texas get paid lots and lots of money to try and figure your stuff out. But finding out, you're trying to figure out who's going to come in and really take you, fit into your system, fit in with what you do, understand what's supposed to be going on, be a positive in the huddle, get along with your players. Because that's really, if you want to look at, like, and we'll get into this, which is Parker Livingston in the story today. He goes to Oklahoma and everybody freaks out. And I'll say personally, not a popular opinion, if you hate Parker Livingston now, you never truly really liked Parker Livingston. I think that's crazy to me. Look, I wish him the best. I think he's going to lose at Oklahoma because I don't have a lot of faith in that team to be great. And I don't have a lot of faith in John Mateer to figure it out. But I wish him the best. I liked him as a player before. I agree with you. He's a wide receiver 4 at Texas. I agree with you that he was a guy that could get used and probably should have gotten 1 to 2 targets a game max. And so it's not a huge loss for Texas to lose him. I'm on board with all of that. I'm also don't hate the guy for going to Oklahoma when he wanted to go find a new place. Go there, have fun, do whatever. I don't hold it. I'm not going to root for you anymore, but I also don't have any animosity towards you until you give me a reason to have animosity towards you. And just going to Oklahoma is not enough for me.
I think that he's given people reasons to have animosity because he lied.
He didn't lie. He phrased it differently. Also, I don't trust the boosters and donors in Texas to tell the truth either. And that's where some of this stuff comes from. So,
if people are getting their panties up, I don't hate Parker Livingston either. Like, I hate that he's going to Oklahoma, but Texas fans are getting super worked up because their number 4 wide receiver got too big for his britches in the NIL game, and he decided to go chase some money from a team who desperately needs wide receivers and is going to take Texas's number 4 wide receiver and probably make him their number 2 wide receiver, which is going to not work out very well for them, in my opinion. So it is what it is.
But we keep saying NIL on that. If you said, I'm at best going to be not a starter at Texas, at best, not a starter, and at Oklahoma, they want me to be a starter, then I'll go be a starter. Like,
I totally agree.
I don't. The numbers to me are different, but for me, the reality was he wasn't going to be a starter at Texas anymore, and he didn't want to do that. I totally get that. I think most of these players, like, you get it, and you go find a good opportunity for you. And for Oklahoma, if they think that's their answer at number 2 or number 3 or whatever, God bless them. Have fun. I think that we should have a better wide receiver room than that because we want to have a better offense than them. I'm all for that. I didn't like the turnaround of, and not just fans. It was more, there was reporters who talked up Parker Livingston for a year and then told me he sucked at the end of it. And that I don't really appreciate. Like, if you're going to tell me who he was, the same guy who's told me all season, be like, yeah, he's a good player. He was a really good culture guy in the locker room. People really liked him. He's a good guy. Go over there and do it. It's fine. It's college football. It's what it is. We'd all like college football to change and get away from this stuff. We all would. But it doesn't seem to be doing it. And I don't blame one kid for doing something that hundreds of others are doing right now. And look, got a bag, going to be a starter. Go do it because you weren't going to do it here.
Just don't tell people you got pushed out because you didn't. That's my thing. Like I said, Parker Livingston is a good player. Texas is in on some wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the wide receiver room.
Yeah, it is what it is. I don't understand why people are getting worked up about it. Just don't say that you got pushed out is my deal. It's kind of a bad look, but it is what it is. I don't really deal in what the hard numbers are of what the transaction was for Oklahoma. I think that stuff can kind of be a little, inaccurate at times, but it is what it is.
Look, this is just be my personal opinion. If I get told I'm a starter and I'm no longer a starter, I'm forced out. That is my opinion. If I believe that I was supposed to be a starter and you tell me you are not good enough to be a starter, I would take that as you telling me to get the hell off the team. That's what I would take it as, especially when I was 22 years old. That's what I would take it as, because you're telling me I'm not good enough and you don't believe I will be next season. That's what you're telling me. That tells me to get out. That's just my opinion. So I get the NIL it may be completely off base, and he was told, we want you to be a starter, Patrick. We want you to be a starter, Parker, and we want you to we just not going to be offering you as much money. Maybe that's the case, and he thought that was forced out. Maybe that's the case. But I believe if I was told you are not a good enough football player to be a starter at the University of Texas after being a starter at the University of Texas, then I'd be like, cool, you're telling me to leave. You're telling me I'm the reason we didn't win as much. You're telling me that's what I would feel at 22 years old. So I'm just saying, I don't think he lied in it. I think he said exactly what was true, which was he was told, we want to be better at wide receiver than you are. And that to me was a sign that the door is right there. That's all I'm saying. I don't think he's wrong in saying that. I do think that he wanted more money. I agree with that as well. That he said, if you're not going to put me in, then pay me. Show me that you want me here. Show me why you want me here. They went, we're not going to show you we want you here. We're going to tell you that we'd like to have you. But like, if you work at a company for 5 years and then you're expecting to get a promotion, you don't get it. And then they tell you, we're not going to give you a raise either. You might say, all right, I'm looking for another job. Just is what it is. It's business. I agree. So I just don't have the problem with him. That's all. You can have your own opinion. I know mine's probably more unpopular than others, but I'm not saying you're wrong either because I wasn't in the room. So I can't tell you anybody else was wrong about him saying something else because I was not in the room.
Yeah, I mean, none of us were in the room except for probably Sark and Chris Jackson and Parker Livingston. So, look, I don't think Parker Livingston would have ended up at Oklahoma if they didn't offer him the best NIL deal and a promise that he would be a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Texas was not going to give him the number that he wanted and promise him to be a starter, so he decided to leave.
I agree. I'm not arguing that.
I'm just saying for the people in the chat, if Indiana had offered the same package to him that Oklahoma did, I'm sure he would have ended up at Indiana because they're national title contenders and Oklahoma's dog shit. But here we are. So let's not hate him for picking who he picked.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't care if, outside of Arch Manning signing with Texas A&M or something crazy stupid like that, I don't think that there's a player on the Texas roster who could go to any school in America and I would hate him for it. Because he's making a decision that's best for him, best for his future. And right now, being a starter and getting $800,000 instead of being a number 4 wide receiver and getting $400,000 is a better deal.
Of course it is. It's a much better deal. But all right. But this leads me to the question, Matt, I was going to ask you today. We beat around the bush for a long time. But this is the question. I'll ask it to the people in the chat too. Of what splash, how big of a splash do you need to see from Texas to feel like, okay, we're there? Because I'm with you. What we talked about earlier, Matt, about getting the right guys in that fit the system and everything else. That's great. And that's what you want to do. But that was also a much easier pill to swallow after you're in the playoffs. And you're like, we're a guy or two. We're right there. We're right there. Right. And now it feels like we're maybe a little bit further away. Now we feel like we're a top 15 team, not a top 5 team. And so that window opened up a little bit more. So that's why the Cam Coleman name comes up so much, because that is a big splash. That's a cannonball in the middle of the pool off the diving board. That is a big splash. How big of a splash now that there is no Jaden Ball? That is now off the table. So it doesn't feel like there's going to be a big splash at running back now. Now you could still kind of big splash at offensive line. You could definitely do it somewhere place in the defense, have some big splashes. They've done well at defensive line, but it wasn't a problem for us. And we didn't really lose enough at defensive line that it feels like any of that's really going to move the needle, even though I like what they're doing at defensive line. So how big of a splash do you guys need to see in the chat for you, Matt, to make this feel like, okay, all right, I'm ready for next season? That was a splash I need to see, that this team is ready to go next season. And I feel like we're right back in that picture to be a top 5 team in the country.
I think Hair of the Dog's right. I think it starts on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You go out, and if I'm a Texas fan, you go out and you get me Andrew Sprague and Jake Guarnera from Michigan, who they're talking to in Michigan today. They're going to visit them after they visited Texas. If you bring me both of those guys, my offensive line is fixed, and I'm good. Obviously, you still want to bring in another player along the offensive line, but my starting 5 I feel pretty good about, even if Connor Robertson's coming back to be my center, because I've got a big, nasty guard in Guarnera. I've got a big, nasty right tackle in Sprague. You shift Brandon Baker on the inside to guard. Immediate upgrade on the offensive line, and I feel much better about protecting Arch. Obviously, I'd still like to make a splash at running back, and maybe there's a guy who hasn't entered the portal yet who they're going to go after. If not, Caden Durham and Raleek Brown, give them to me right now, wrapped up with a bow, and I'm good. Better running back room than we had last year. But I think that the move that Texas needs to get done, if they're going to, from a fan base perspective, really excite everyone and get them like, okay, we're swinging for the fences, it has to be Cam Coleman. And I know that doesn't fix the issues that you have on the offensive line or in the running game, but for the casual fan, the big name that they're hearing about the most is the one that's going to get them rebought back in and be like, oh yeah, we're winning a national title next year. So on offense, that's it. I think on defense, linebacker and edge rusher. You're a little thin on the edge room. Like you have a lot of good talent Obviously Zena Umeozulu and Colin Simmons and Lance Jackson. And but I think if you go get what do I not understand, you, Tex?
I think
you're
an
idiot.
Maybe walked in the back. He's not an idiot. Calm down. It's just maybe this hurts some.
But Jaden Woods from Florida would be a huge get. That would be a splash. Damone Wilson from Missouri just entered the portal. He would be a massive splash that would excite people. Quay Rousseau, who could play off-ball linebacker and edge rusher, would be a huge get. But the name that I would really say, okay, this is a big splash on defense, would be Cade Uolave from California. 100-plus tackles with basically 11 games. He played one series against Virginia, missed the rest of the game. Probably would have ended up with about 110, 115 tackles on average had he played in that entire football game. He would instantly give you the best defense in the SEC, in my opinion.
All right. I like that. And that's kind of where it goes for me. I'm about there of like that. And the Cam Coleman one too, it's like, it makes it feel like, what's your elite power, right? You always want to have something that's elite about you. And it makes it feel like, okay, our wide receiver room will be elite next season if you had Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo and Emmett Mosley and what you put together in that passing game with Arch Manning with another year, and especially if you put that offensive line, it does make you feel like, okay, now there's something that starts to be elite. And then you go, can you get that defense to return to elite levels next season? Then you start to feel like you're starting to stack things up, and you still have to have a running back game. But if your running game's not elite, that's okay if you can put everything else together around it, but you have to have a run game. So I'm with you, Raleek Brown, Caden Durham, and then hoping that Christian Clark continues to play as well as he did in the Michigan game. Hope that you get Derek Cooper, maybe midway through next season to start to pick up the speed and be able to come in some games, maybe where you're nicked up or you need to just keep running the football, maybe a different approach. All of those things is a splash. But yeah, it's kind of looking at it and going, what will make everybody go, okay, it's fine. And I get to, it's a really weird time. And I can tell like we're already more amped up in the Texas world. The Texas Twitter is out of control right now because Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M made the playoffs. And even though they were a combined 0-for-3 in the playoffs, they're acting as if we are not a relevant program anymore. And those programs have surpassed us by 100 miles. And there's no real argument. Like we had someone come in the chat yesterday and trying to make all the points of why would Cam Coleman go to Texas over Texas Tech. And he leaves out all the things of what a real conversation you could have. Like, no, this is what Texas Tech can offer. And this is what Texas can offer. And this is what Texas A&M can offer. And there's real reasons to go discuss all of those options. And there's positives to all three schools. But to just walk in and go, why would you want to play for Arch Manning? And then you just go, dude, tell me you don't know ball without telling me you don't know ball. It's like those are the conversations. That's what we've been dealing with on social media as we try to keep up with the portal, is everyone then telling us how terrible we are for rooting for a team that we've rooted for our whole lives. So it's a rough world right now, and everyone's a little on edge about it. So I get why it's frustrating because there are so many attacks coming out of everywhere because everyone's looking for the same players. And so now it is, we all just got to calm down and be happy and try and go into it. I know it is a tense time right now with the portal, and I'm hoping for that splash, man, because the splash at least tempers that a little bit. You make some ripples that are your own ripples. Texas then had their own ripples in a little bit. We need to make some with the big splash. And I think you're right. It's like if we don't get Cam Coleman, it turns into not a waste of an offseason, not anything's going terribly wrong because you could still improve your team greatly without getting Cam Coleman. But that splash of letting the fan base and believing that there's this extra level of hope, it does really feel right now, at least, without the other names that may still come into the portal, that's the one name that really swings the tide of fan trash talking a little bit more.
Yeah, good point here, Randy. Texas recruited Damon Wilson in high school. He signed with Georgia in 2023 as well, before he transferred to Missouri. Does anybody know who Georgia's defensive coordinator was in 2023?
I couldn't even tell you, man.
Oh, it was Will Muschamp.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I think they'll have at least a good conversation with him. That doesn't mean they're going to get him, but I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't at least talk to him because he was one of the best edge rushers in the SEC this year. They've got his old defensive coordinator from Georgia, and they've got familiarity with him coming out of high school. They obviously have really good history with edge rushers over the last couple of years with Colin Simmons and Ethan Burke and Baron Sorrell and all these guys. So I assume they'll be in the conversation.
All right, Matt, why don't we take our first break? We come back. We're going to get into a little Texas basketball. We'll keep portal conversations. We're keeping our eye on the portal as well to see if there's any updates. Matt is fingers on the pulse, man. It's fingers on the pulse there. So we will keep up with all of that. We'll get into our Overreactions Tuesday that we do here every week. A little NFL talk by the end. There was a huge firing that happened today in the NFL and several other firings that happened yesterday. So we'll get into all of that and continue on with the show. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we always love talking with you as well. As we continue on here on Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and all of us at Audiovisual would like to wish you and your family a happy holiday season. This time of year can get a little hectic, so we want to remind you to relax, enjoy the season with your family and friends, and give us a call at 512-255-8678 for all of your home entertainment needs. This is my favorite time of the year. I love the holidays, the music, the decorations, the presents, the whole darn thing. So this year I'm asking all you listeners to help make this a special holiday for everyone. Smiles are contagious and free, so let's give them away like the government gives away your money. Let's high-five strangers on the street, hold the door for people behind us, tip your servers more than they've ever been tipped before. Give to a charity, or hell, give to a bunch of charities. If someone does a good job, tell them they did a good job. Pat someone on the butt. Sing in public places just because it feels good. And as always, hug your kids until they beg you to stop. Watch some games with your friends and make love to your wife or your husband. I know there's some women listening too. You can still give us a call at 512-255-8678 if you'd like to get some cool electronics, but more importantly, have a great holiday season and a fucking awesome next year.
You see covert everywhere. That personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
BK here for OLIPOP. Man, this stuff is the game changer of all game changers. Their slogan is a new kind of soda, and that's exactly what it is. You get that same great soda taste, but OLIPOP is actually good for you. Inside of every can, a blend of 7 unique botanicals, plant fibers, and prebiotics. You're getting 9 grams of fiber in every can, only 2 to 5 grams of sugar, and man, the flavor is absolutely there. Classic soda flavors like cola, root beer, lemon lime, and Dr. Goodwin. That's their version of a Dr. Pepper, and some other great flavors as well. The grape, the cream soda, the cherry cola. It's all fantastic. I'm telling y'all, OLIPOP tastes just like the soda you grew up sipping, but with the added benefits of microbiome and digestive health support as well. Pick up OLIPOP at H-E-B, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, and Costco all throughout the Austin area and the state of Texas. And head over to drinkolipop.com. Use the promo code Texas20 for a discount on your first purchase. It's OLIPOP, a new kind of soda.
Welcome back in here to Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan here from Texas Longhorns on SI. Text line's open. Of course, you third member of Gym. I get through it. Text line's open 512-222-9328. And of course, over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. We cannot control, Rodney, the commercial volume on this. I don't have the controls of that, but we'll pass up the ladder. But don't worry, they're not that long. We'll be back, and then you can listen to what you want to do with. And Bud Bundy, appreciate you have your opinion. I have mine, and I get paid to give mine. So you don't have to agree with it, but I can also tell you don't know you're right either. So this is the fun part about what we get to do. And appreciate you tuning in, man. It's fun to get here on a Tuesday edition of Open Gym. I think you came in right at the right point too, of when I was saying things might be a little tense right now. in the Longhorn. Maybe things are a little tense. I'm a little tense. I get it. It's a little tense right now. A lot of people from other programs trying to talk down, and the New York. The fact that I tune in and they go, Jaden Ball stays at Florida, spurning Texas is the headline. Not stays at Florida. Not congratulations, Florida, you kept your running back, but no, spurning Texas. It feels hard when you're the big dog on campus, and you can't tell me that Texas doesn't matter when every headline I read has Texas in it when players are leaving or coming or not even coming. Jaden Ball never entered the transfer portal, and yet Texas is in that title. So you can't tell me that we don't matter, because clearly there's a reason why they're going after this fan base. So
yeah, there's this thing called Google Trends that you can use, which is how much stuff is searched online per Google. And if you look at like a term such as Texas Longhorns on Google Trends, I think you're going to find that it's Googled far, far more often than Oklahoma Sooners or Texas A&M or Texas Tech or anything of that nature. So yes, it is what it is.
Man, this is my favorite text I think we've ever gotten, because it tells me someone has not listened to the entire show. But it is, Patrick is an idiot. What happened to Texas being all in? Sounds like Jerry Jones and his all-in promises every year. Man, who may have made this comparison, I don't know, 30 minutes ago?
Yeah,
could have been Patrick who said, I don't want us to be the Cowboys, and that's why I'm worried about what we're doing in the portal. Could it have been me who said that 30 minutes ago?
I would encourage everybody that is going to make wide sweeping assumptions and claims and tell people they're idiots to listen to the whole show. Somebody said I didn't understand earlier in the show, when that is basically exactly what I said by the end of the Parker Livingston conversation.
Yes,
it is what it is.
No, I think we were getting mad at you for saying we should be allowed to shit on 22-year-old kids for deciding what's best for their future if they don't do what we think. I think that's
I think you're allowed to have your opinion based on what he says, but at the end of the day, the conversation or the decision was the right decision for him, and that's the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody should hate him for that personally. But here's my thing, and I don't want anybody to get mad at me. I apologize for calling somebody an idiot in the chat a few minutes ago. Kinda, not really, but kinda. Texas fans are. Look at any message board that you want to. Look at any chat for any online streaming radio show that you want to, preferably this one. This is the best one. You're acting like a bunch of spoiled babies. Like this is so much like, oh, my best friend down the street got a Nintendo 64 for Christmas and I haven't gotten one yet.
It's a little tense right now.
It's not Christmas Day yet.
It's a little tense yet. It's a little tense right now.
Let's just relax.
It is a little tense. I get why it's tense, because every fan base and everybody on Twitter and social media. And I also think there's a lot of this that a lot of it, if you're not on social media, is completely fine and everything's okay. Because I text with people that are not really on social media following sports like that, but are Texas fans. They text me for updates because they're like, oh, what's happening? And they're not freaking out this way. But so it's just a little tense right now. I think we'll be fine here. Thank you, Harry the dog, for owning it. I do. Like, I think once at the end of the day, it's going to be tense. It's also beginning of the new year. This is the worst work week in the year, because we literally come off like 3 weeks of kind of half-ass work and like not full schedules and everything. And then this is like another year in front of you. So it's like a stressful week for just people in general, the first week of the year. So a little tense right now. Look, he says, my bad, I just tuned in. So look, we're all good. I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate that you are passionate enough about Texas football and Texas sports to tune in and support Texas Sports Unfiltered and support Open Gym. I appreciate it, because as much as maybe we act like spoiled brats sometimes, which we do, we all do. I will say, we appreciate that we are able to make money doing this and be able to talk and hang out with you every day. So we do appreciate you. And we just get it. We get emotional and up in it too, because it's a little tense right now, a little tense. But it's, going talking about being intense. Texas basketball gets to get killed tonight. Play tonight against Tennessee. It's a 10.5 point line. I'm really looking at this more to cover the line. I want you to be competitive in this game for Texas. But this feels like the game plan is now there for the teams who can do it against Texas, which is play two bigs. If you play two bigs, you're going to get them in foul trouble. Play two bigs, you're going to be able to beat them inside. You're going to be able to out-rebound them. You're going to be able to kind of eliminate Cam Heide from the equation, at least rebounding-wise, where Cam Heide's pretty good at attacking and jumping in and getting those. You're able to get those balls a little bit more. Too many balls hitting the ground and not getting grabbed in the air for Texas right now on the rebounds. They're going to have to rebound the ball really, really well. You can't turn the ball over against Tennessee. You need every advantage you can have against this Tennessee team tonight. Jacoby Gillespie, don't foul him shooting threes. I mean, this seems like easy stuff, Matt. This seems like day one stuff. So it's going to be the question about what they can do. And this is my big question here. And this will be a positive to look for, even if we lose this game tonight, Matt. I'm going to try and spin the positive here for us. If Dalen Swain has another good offensive performance, then I will be much happier that I believe there's somebody who we can consistently start to count on one side of the ball. Now, is he a problem on the defensive end at the 4 and he fouls too much? Yes, we need to figure that one out. But starting problem for Texas, which has been for the last 2 to 3 years, we have had nobody consistent to be able to score. Now, we had Trey Johnson a year ago who could score, but it wasn't enough because he didn't really play defense. He was a net positive, but you needed other help to get there. Tremont Mark plays well sometimes. If he comes out and has another 15, 20-point game, you feel much better about life. But for Texas, you need to be a team that can score 80, 85 points a night to win, to have any real shot, because you're going to allow 80 points a night. This defense just isn't there. They don't have the effort. They don't have the ways to do it. They foul too much. I don't know, who brought Shawn Miller as his assistant coaches trying to do, but so far it has been rough for this Texas defense and this Texas basketball team. So tonight, you're really looking at some of the things to find a positive in. And look, if Texas wins, fantastic. But I am running in my expectations versus reality here, Matt. Since we're all a little tense, I'm not caring if Texas wins or loses this game because I've already chalked it up to a loss. Hope they change my mind. But I want to see consistent offensive production out of Tremont Mark and Dalen Swain. And I want to see them be able to rebound the basketball well and not allow second chance points. If you can win second chance points, you score more second chance points than you allow, and those two guys perform well, then I'll know there's a certain amount of efforts that we're going in the right direction. The fouling problem is going to be a problem all year. They need to keep getting better at it, but it is what it is. Like I don't think that's changing overnight, and I definitely don't think it's changing overnight against the Rick Barnes team. Now, the good news is for Texas in this game is that Rick Barnes is an old school, let's get into a fight coach. And normally we'll go to the officials and say, don't call so many fouls. We don't need so many because we want to play rough in the post. And we don't want to get offensive fouls. We want to be able to bump around. So I don't think, we may go into that. Now, I don't know if Shawn Miller is going up and say call everything or not. I can't imagine he is at this point. But Rick Barnes has always been a traditionally let them play. So we've had games against Tennessee where there's not been a ton of fouls called, not a guy's fouled out. We've had games where everybody fouls out. What the reality of it is Texas just needs to come out, play smart basketball, rebound, and try and get some consistent scoring. And we can keep going. How the guards match up. I mean, Jordan Pope's Jordan Pope. If he shoots above 40% from three, he's a net positive. If he shoots under 20%, which he's been doing, if he shoots under 30%, under 40%, he's a net negative because he's not going to play as much defense. He doesn't really instigate the offense as much as he needs to. We hope Simeon Wilcher can play more and more. There's 6 guys he trusts right now. Nick Cody is basically got knocked out of the rotation already. I don't know where Declan DeRue is. I would be playing him. I'd be benching my players if they kept fouling. I'd be benching my players if they didn't do what I want him to do. But that's where you want to go. And look, I want Voikatitis to be a dude in the post who's able to continue to grow. He's an SEC play. They're going to play him really tough. If he starts getting the calls, he'll have a good night. If he doesn't, he's going to get real frustrated, and we're going to get a lot of turnovers. So at the end of watching this game, I wouldn't be so mad if Texas loses. I would be mad if they don't compete, if they don't rebound. If you see balls on a shot, either way, touch the floor, that's a reason to be upset. Balls are never supposed to touch the floor in basketball on a shot. They're not. You're supposed to rebound the ball in the air. So when we see that happen, that's how second chance points happen. That's effort. It's not everyone's effort. Sometimes the ball bounces weird, but a lot of times it's effort. You can't see that happen. So that one to me is a big one. Second chance points, and then just some consistency offensively.
Yeah, I don't really see a path to any of that happening based on what I've seen over the first 16 games of the year, whatever it is.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you are, and what this team is extremely inconsistent on both sides of the ball. They foul a ton, and that's what they're going to be for the rest of the year. Can you catch some of these teams on a bad night? Like, what could Tennessee come in and have a bad night and allow you to beat them? Sure. I don't think Rick Barnes is necessarily going to allow that to happen playing against his former team. So you need your best players to step up and play their best basketball and play good basketball, which is very difficult for this team to do right now. And the last thing that I want to see is a team that fouls a ton and doesn't get anything out of the four position, and then Shawn Miller comes to the press conference and say, well, I'm doing everything I can. And I don't want Patrick necessarily to go on another tirade about Shawn Miller, which, because it could not be as perfect as it was yesterday. So if you want to see that, tune into yesterday's show and rewatch that, because it was amazing. But at a certain point, like, I'm not saying the season is over. I don't think that they're going to go winless in the SEC, but they need to start playing more complete basketball. And until they start doing that, I'm just not going to believe that they're going to be able to win any of these basketball games. And this is going to be a really tough matchup because, like you said, Rick Barnes is a knock him down, drag him out coach, and he's going to make them play real hard, and he's going to go to the refs and say, let us play the game. And maybe Shawn Miller would appreciate that. Maybe it gives Texas a better chance if that happens, but they just don't have the star player that I think can get him over the top against a team like Tennessee, and it's not going to happen this year.
Yeah, no, it's not. But yeah, look, they may turn. The SEC is also not as good as they were last year. The SEC was insane last year. They're still really, really good, but they're not necessarily as 1-16 deep as they were last season. So you could win some of these games. You can compete, but I need to see progress in some of these things. I need to see coaching. Need to see coaching and improvement. We've seen it from Tremont Mark. I would like that list to be longer, but we've seen it from Tremont Mark. So I would like to see it from some other guys. And Hair of the Dog, I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for him to come back and blame me. Good text here from Longhorn in Lubbock, which is true. Is it true, Longhorn in Lubbock? Because we're all a little tense. We build both in high school recruiting and supplement from the portal. We just had the #1 recruiting class. We aren't Tech, where we have to overpay every year just to score 0 in a playoff game that was undeserved. But the fact there is the reality. Derek Cooper is going to be a really good back. And I think one of the reasons why I'm not as worried about the wide receiver room is because we had a really good wide receiver class last year. And I know they didn't play a ton last year. And I know some people get impatient with their new toys. And if Cleek Lockett doesn't necessarily play a lot his freshman year, he's already a bust and we can get rid of him, and who needs him? I'm not that guy. I do think it takes some time to play on really, really good rosters. And freshmen really shouldn't be playing a ton unless you are next level top guy, Jeremiah Smith elite. So I think what they've learned, I think they're going to be ready to step up. Dalen McCutcheon had some drops in the game. I think, work on that a little bit more in the offseason. It's a good learning lesson for him to step into that next game, be a little bit more prepared. Even Michael Terry, we talk about him, and I know the experiment didn't get used in the bowl game, but he is another interesting back that we haven't mentioned yet of what he will be in the game. And I'll still say that I believe the biggest flaw that Texas had last season was not improving enough in the offseason. I think the player development that would have been the thing that Sark had done better than than Tom Herman, better than Charlie Strong, and better than Mac Brown at the end was player development. He was doing really, really well with it. And it becomes harder when you can't play as much of your young guys and you have to play a little bit older guys. It becomes harder. You need to do a lot of that in the offseason. And they were being very gentle because they'd just gone to 2 straight playoffs. They took it easy. No spring game. The scrimmages seemed a little bit lighter than they had been. Everything wasn't as intense as it needed to be ready week 1. And for that, Longhorn Lubbock, you're right. You do build through the draft or build through recruiting in high school, but you need to be able to develop those players. And they're one offseason behind for some of these guys right now because they just did not do enough in that offseason last year. This offseason is big. The bowl game was big to get a lot of these guys practice. To see Christian Clark's improvement was huge. To see that these guys are stepping up in those worlds, those things are really, really big for Texas. So I'm with you. You do have to improve it. But this offseason and this spring program and what you're sending the kids off to go work and do, what Arch Manning needs to be in charge of trying to get this, what Colin Simmons on the defensive end of the football needs to be in charge of getting these guys and making sure they're working out and making sure they're working and going to their skills coaches and doing all the offseason work that you got to do. If they do that and we see them week 1 look much better than they looked week 1 this week or this season, next season, then you will say a lot of the problems are fixed and this roster will be better than last year's because they're not starting at a loss. They're starting at a positive and can grow from that.
Yeah. Look, development is a huge part of what this team needs to be next year, and I think that was always going to be the case. I get that the all-in aspect of the transfer portal is a huge, boiling point right now for Texas fans, and I'm not saying that they're not all in still. I think that they still are. But the meat and potatoes of this team is still going to be the players that are on the roster right now for the most part.
Yeah.
You bring in guys to fill holes in the transfer portal. You don't bring in guys to completely rebuild your roster.
Mm-hmm.
So the development of this team through the bowl practices and what we saw against Michigan and then through spring football and through the summer is going to be every bit as critical as what's going on in the transfer portal right now, and that cannot be expressed enough. Had Christian Clark been developed to the point that he was at the end of the season, as he played against Michigan, I think Texas would probably feel, and Texas fans would probably feel a whole lot better about the running back room than they did 3 weeks ago. And that's important to remember. I mean, we're just a week removed from I think Texas's third 100-yard rusher of the season, or maybe the second 100-yard rusher of the season. And they got it from 2 guys, in Arch Manning and Christian Clark. So, that's important to think about because a lot of the players on this team that played last year were very young and they were still figuring out the college game. Now they've got a whole season under their belt. Now they've got 15 bowl practices, a bowl game, spring football, all of that stuff. Cade Phillips is going to be better. Kobe Black is going to be better. Warren Roberson is going to be better. Jonah Williams is going to be better. Xavier Filsme is going to be better. To Anthony Smith, Bo Barnes, Lance Jackson, all those guys are going to be much better than they were. Christian Clark, Kalik Lockett, Jamie French. Just because you're bringing in guys in the portal doesn't mean that those guys aren't going to play a serious role in what this team is going to be next year. So, both are equally important, and I really hope that doesn't get lost in this whole conversation of, oh my God, Jaden Bond never entered the portal. We screwed up. He never entered the portal. So it's not a loss. It just sucks.
Yeah. Look, we all believe it was plan A. We all believe it was, and it didn't go through, but no, there's still ways you can come out and compete next year and be in it. Look, the way I've said it all the time, I think Trey Wisner and DeAndre Moore, for a lot of reasons, not just play, but what they meant to the team. I think it's rough to lose those guys and not replace them with something that gets you excited, because those guys got you excited. Those guys were guys that when you felt them coming back in the huddle, when DeAndre Moore came back from injury, when Trey Wisner came back and, just helping Arch calm down a little bit more and the O-line calm down a little bit more. All of those things that they meant to the team is why you go, okay, well, if we're letting them go, it does change the culture a bit. And how are you replace that culture with the people you're bringing in to do it? And that's where you leave at questionable practices in it. and believing that they had stuff that they thought this is a clear upgrade and not a clear comparison, but not already in the system. And so that's where you just go, I just want to see why, if you're doing this and you're pitching and selling it one way and it comes out the other, then it becomes tough. Sorry, Hair the Dog. You're right. Jerry Jones. I want Jerry Jones to run the basketball GM, though. That's who we're getting to run basketball. He can't do any worse. He could do worse. He could do worse. I won't be that mean to it. I won't be that mean. That's an overstatement. Jerry Jones could do worse. Matt, let's get to our overreactions we give here every day on the show, or every Tuesday, on the show. I will give you some overreactions from the college world, from the pro world, and things I've either heard, read, or just made up myself. Some overreactions. It feels like this is a big overreactions week for us, Matt. So we'll throw those in. If you have any overreactions you want to throw in to the chat, into the text line, go right ahead and do that. But Matt, let's start off and see if you believe this is a overreaction or just right on the nose, solid, makes some sense, solid point in there. I feel like this one might get you off, but I did read this. It's not what I made up. Curt Cignetti is the new Nick Saban.
Maybe. Listen, it's really impressive what he's done at Indiana to turn like one of the worst programs in the history of college football into what looks like the favorite for the national title right now. Yes. College football playoff semifinal, undefeated, all that stuff. I think we need a little bit more time before we can say, maybe give him like a national championship or two before we say he's the next Nick Saban. But I think that he's in line to be in that conversation.
But all right, so the answer for me is no. There will never be another in this landscape anybody who can continually build a program and have that many guys stacked up class after class after class. I don't know if that's there. If you want to look at the interesting part about transfers into this year's playoffs, that Ole Miss is clearly the most transfers. But there are 19 transfers on Indiana. And you look at that and go, oh, I would have kind of thought they may have been a little bit less because Curt Cignetti kind of come up. A lot of those were James Madison transfers, though. They're transfers that came with him when he took the Indiana job. And so he has a lot of transfers on that staff that are playing and on that team that are playing that he has developed from the beginning. 3-star guys, because they don't have a 5-star on that team, which also should tell you about recruiting that, maybe don't always get super excited about 5 stars, and 3 stars could also be amazing. You never know if you develop your players correctly. But I think development-wise, he's there. I think there's a lot of really good developers. The issue is what we're talking about with Texas right now. Dabo Swinney's a perfect thing. It's maintaining while still competing. So when you have to say, we've got all these 5th, 4th year guys that I've been around the same guys, and we've built this program over years and years. And even though I've only been in Indiana, I brought some guys with me to instill that culture. Now, when all those guys are gone and you have to now start replacing with your younger guys, how can you stay there? It's just not as easy as it was. So if he can do that, hats off to him. I'm impressed what he's already done. He's done a hell of a job there. I think he's still a complete cowardly human being for canceling the Virginia game, and I won't back off of that. He's a coward for not scheduling a decent non-conference, but he's winning, and he is doing very well at that. So, no, he's not the next Nick Saban. He has not won anything yet to get close to that, but he is a very, very good coach, and he could be the next top-level coach. I will give him that. Is you could be the next top 5 coach. That's the next top 5 coach for the next 5-10 years, where we just go, oh man, like how Dan Lanning came up and we all went, oh, Dan Lanning is a guy who's going to be named in the top coaches now every year. I think he's in that realm. And then how do you improve off of that?
I mean, he's got to win some before we can say that. And by win, you don't mean win games. You mean win national championships. Some people would have called, Steve Sarkisian the next Nick Saban because he won a Big 12 title. and then came up. If he had won a national championship that year, they'd be, well, they're the next. People were saying it. They're the next Georgia. That he's the next this, that, or the other. So it takes a little bit more time for stuff like that to get there.
All right. Our next overreaction, Matt. The auto bid process has been a complete failure. Auto bids are losing left and right. Auto bids don't win in the college football playoffs. Indiana is your exception to that rule. But auto bids do not win in the college football playoffs. So auto bids in general have been a complete failure.
I think the auto bids for the G5 have been a complete failure for sure.
How many points did Tech score again?
Well, let me get there. Okay.
What games did Georgia win again?
I'm just saying that it seems to me that the bye week and having an entire month off before having to play a very critical football game, one where you're amped up to the nth degree and it's the biggest stage you've ever been on in your life, probably isn't the way to go. I think they need to get rid of the buys, and then we can talk about the auto bids. I mean, I don't believe in auto bids in the first place. I think it should be the top 12 ranked teams, and that's it. But you got to start somewhere. I say get rid of the buys and, reseed in that way. But whatever it is not working, and there should never be 2 group of 5 teams in the college football playoff ever.
No, I'm with you on that. And Randy, I don't mean group of 5 auto bids. I mean auto bids in general, because Georgia's not in, Texas Tech ain't in, Indiana's the only major conference it's in. ACC didn't make it. 4
auto bids lost last year.
4 auto bids lost last year. So, auto bids don't win is the problem. So it's not even the G5. It's in general of you winning your conference championship gets you in. Now, those teams would have all made it in, but they may have not been the top teams. May have changed up the rankings a little bit. Maybe move some things around. Maybe in Texas Tech, we go in there. I'm just saying auto bids have not proven. It proves that not only are the G5 teams ridiculously outranked, but even the teams that are just like big Texas Tech were outranked when they got there. And if Duke would have been in, they would have been massively outdone. And it just, conference championships don't seem to matter as much when you're getting in. All right, our next overreaction here, Matt. Arch Manning will be the preseason Heisman favorite next season.
Arch Manning will be the preseason Heisman favorite?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's an overreaction at all. It's going to be him, and it's going to be Julian Sayin and maybe another guy. And those are going to be the 3 that everybody talk about for the entire summer and the entire preseason, and then we're going to get there, and it's it's going to work itself out. But based on the way that he ended his season from basically the Oklahoma game on, including going out on top against Michigan with just an unbelievable performance, being Arch Manning and being the starting quarterback in the University of Texas, obviously I think it's a no-brainer. I don't think there's any way that he's not.
No, because if you look at it, Julian Sayin is definitely going to be in that conversation again, so he could technically be the odds-on favorite to start the season. Arch will definitely be in the conversation. There's zero doubt on that one. And then if Dante Moore takes the advice of, I think it was Todd McShay, but it may have been somebody else whose advice to him was, the Jets have the second pick. You're the second pick in the draft. Stay at Oregon. do not go to the Jets. Do not go to the Jets. It will not work out. There's no way it works out.
Just so everybody's aware, Pete Nakos has now called his shot for 2 players that Texas is after in the portal, and has predicted Texas to get both of those players.
Okay.
Raleek Brown and Bo Masco, the corner from Rutgers I was talking about a few minutes ago. So there may be some things happening here, guys, pretty soon. So let's all pay attention. Let's not jump off the ledge just yet.
I've already jumped. I'm flying, man. I'm flying. All right. A couple more college football ones here. All right. We've talked about this a lot today. Texas needs to be a top 3 team in the portal, or they failed to meet expectations.
I don't know. I probably if they don't have the number one team in the portal, everybody's going to say, "Oh, you weren't all in." But I still think they're going to get a lot of good players. It may not be what everybody expected it to be necessarily, with Jaden Ball and Isaac Brown and Cam Coleman and 5 new offensive linemen and 13 new defensive players and all this stuff. But it's, number one, it's too early to tell, and number two, I think that it's going to be just fine, and everybody's going to be very happy with the product that they see on the field next year.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The story, what I'd heard was if they don't have the best team, they best pay a hole in the portal. And I was like, come on. I went top 3 to push it back a little bit.
Even if it's top 10, I think.
I think that's the thing, is it's really what needs to address, because technically they could sign like 16 more defensive tackles, because they're really good at signing defensive tackles in the portal. And then they would have the top recruiting class, because they just got all the top defensive tackles. They would not make us a better team next year. To have 35 defensive tackles. All right, this is the last one, Matt. This one may get some people upset, but I've heard this a bunch. The SEC's bowl record shows the SEC is overrated.
No.
Look,
I get it. It's a bad look, but you consider the amount of opt-out players, the amount of players heading to the NFL, the amount of players entering the portal. I mean, Texas played 9 starters against Michigan. And you also take into account the teams that, I'll address that in a second, guys. You take into account the teams that, weren't up for their bowl games and all that stuff. Like, bowl games have never been a barometer of what a conference is, in my opinion. The college football playoff is much more so a barometer of what a team or what a conference is. And, there's one SEC team left, there's 2 Big Ten teams left, and there's an ACC team left. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll say that their bowl record is terrible this season. It's horrendous this season. They are 4-9. with 2 of those wins being over SEC teams. So there are 2 SEC bowl wins this season over a non-SEC opponent, Matt. Do you know those 2?
Texas over Michigan and? I don't remember.
It's your team.
Oh, yeah. Ole Miss?
Ole Miss over Tulane.
Well, okay, but are we counting college football playoff as
you have to if you count the SEC, because we're taking up half of it, man.
Oh, okay. If we're just talking about bowl games, then it's bowl game, but playoff is playoff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because basically A&M lost to Miami, Missouri lost to Virginia, LSU lost to Houston, which we knew was Tennessee lost to Illinois. Vanderbilt losing to Iowa. That one, come on, Diego played. Diego was there. Come on, Diego.
Well, yeah, and he also said you only need to score 7 points to beat Iowa, and they scored 34 on you.
Mississippi
Did you know
State
that Iowa has like an alarming amount of All-Americans like consecutively over the last few years, and that they're a much better program than people give them credit for?
Their defense has always been really good. Their defense has always been,
running backs, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they put out guys. They just don't. They were just their offense. That's why people have been so mad at their offensive coordinators, because they're horrendous. And they've just done things really badly. No, I agree with you. You can't really judge the entire book on that cover, especially when you're like, well, 2 of the losses were 2 SEC teams, because there were so many in the playoffs. I get that, it doesn't. If Vanderbilt and Tennessee could have won, it would have made everything look much better. Because then you're just been like, oh yeah, well, 2 of those are on us and all of that. So.
But did you also know that Tennessee didn't have a win over a team with a winning record this year?
Well, that doesn't help our cause here, Matt.
I'm just saying, like, like some of these teams on both sides maybe aren't as good as we thought they were.
Yeah. Yeah. And Longhorn Lubbock says using bowls to validate or invalidate a conference is asinine. Just think. You guys are great, by the way. Appreciate you, Longhorn Lubbock. But yeah, I'm with you. I think looking at it, everything's in their own bubble. Like, I'm not judging Michigan as a program by us beating them either, because they had got their coach fired. A lot of stuff's going on there. So I'm not going to judge Michigan and go, well, the Big Ten is awful. You see how we beat Michigan. I won't do that because I think that's, just reverse being stupid. So I won't go that way either. But yeah, it's hard to go in and look. And when so many players are out, and for the SEC homer way of saying about this is, because you produce so much NFL talent that a lot of those guys that are your best players in all of the games are not going to be playing in those games. And if you produce less NFL talent, you will have more players playing in your bowl games. That's what the non-homer way or the homer way would be saying it.
Yeah. Look, I've decided I don't want to really get into the Jordan Shipley stuff, chat. So when that comes out, you'll hear about it. I don't really want to talk about it on the air.
Yeah, we won't go into it. We'll wait on that one and then cover it once it's covered, but we won't break any news or do anything like that because it's already out there. All right. Some NFL overreactions here for you, man. The Dallas Cowboys need to clean house of coaches and players. They did today let go of Matt Eberflus. Least shocking thing to happen. They have let go of Matt Eberflus, but Cowboys still may have to do more house cleaning. Do you believe more house cleaning for the Cowboys? Try and reset more after the first back-to-back losing seasons for the Cowboys in over 20 years. They haven't been back-to-back this bad in a while. Now heading the wrong way, back of the summit contracts. Is it time to really shift or go push it one more year with Dak Prescott?
You're kind of locked into Dak Prescott, at least for next year, I feel like. I mean, you could probably trade him in some massive kind of deal, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a cap expert like some people claim to be on the NFL. But it depends. It depends what happens, I think. So if you fired Matt Eberflus, who are you going to bring in as your defensive coordinator? If you bring in Brian Flores, which is a name that Diana Rossini, take that with a grain of salt, put out there, you would have to completely revamp your defense with different players because he does not use the same kinds of players that the Cowboys have on their roster, specifically in the secondary right now.
Yeah.
So,
which has never been a problem for them. They just keep changing and then don't change it. Did Brian Flores, was Jerry Jones named in the Brian Flores lawsuit? I feel like
I don't know. I can't remember.
I feel like he was named in that, but no, it's I think they do need to, but I think what you actually need to do if you're the Cowboys, if you want to actually try and rebuild, which they're not going to, they're going to try and stay relevant, would be to basically not overextend this season on either offense or defense. I would say understand, I would put money in the offense, try and keep your offense going one way. So you have an offense that you could put in a young quarterback to, and they would still be ready to go with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott and George Pickens. And then defensively really start to make a major transition, try and find a defensive coordinator that you feel you're going to keep, even though the defense won't necessarily be good next year. You want to be able to push. Yeah, I heard Sark's going to be the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys too. That's
what the Cowboys should do and what they will do are two different conversations. What the Cowboys should do is burn it all to the ground, keep like Tyler Smith and Cooper Beebe on offense, trade everybody else, keep like Quinnen Williams and DeMarvion Overshown on defense, maybe Donovan Ezeraku, trade everybody else, start from scratch, be the worst team in the NFL for the next 2 years, and load up on draft picks. But they won't do it.
No. All right, next overreaction here, Matt. Seeding needs to go to the best records first, not division champions.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Yes, I hate the NFL seeding system because there is no reason on earth that the Carolina Panthers should be the 4 seed in the NFC. And there's no reason on earth that the Steelers should be the 4 seed in the AFC.
No, I'm with you.
It's
now for the
and
Texans,
don't do the reseeding either. I hate
just
that
set it
too.
straight bracket.
Straight bracket.
I like the straight bracket too. I like it straight seeded and then straight bracket, and you try and make it play out instead of giving the best because it makes worse games than having like crazy games. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that's an overreaction. I don't think they'll ever do it, but I don't. This next one is even worse if they won't ever do. But this is for me personally. This is my overreaction. Owners should be forced to sell their team if they can't compete for over a decade.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
I'm giving you a decade, man. But hey, Jets, team sold. Not even a question. Woody Johnson, I'm sorry. You guys, you're gonna make billions of dollars. Sorry though, you are a terrible human being and owner. I've never heard anybody say a positive story about Woody Johnson. I've heard a lot of negative ones. And he is way worse than Jerry Jones, which is saying something. He is an awful, awful owner, and he shouldn't have a team anymore. The Cincinnati Bengals got lucky. They get Joe Burrow. You get to keep a team, Cincinnati. You're putting enough out there. Cleveland Browns. You compete. We're in the playoffs a couple years ago. You get to keep your team. Like every 10 years, you just got to make the playoffs 1 to every 10 years, and you got to keep your team. But if you are so dumb that you can't do that, you have to sell your team. And Randy, you can't do it. I know it won't happen. I'm aware of the validity, but I think we can all agree if you cannot make the playoffs for 10 years straight, you should be forced to sell your team.
The financial aspect and the logistics of that are impossible.
Yeah, I agree.
It would be completely illegal in many senses, but I wish it would happen.
Yeah. By the way, baseball too. I would love it in baseball. It'd be great.
Every American sport.
Yeah.
The Washington Wizards should sell.
Yeah. 10 years? That's so long for a fan base to not have any hope.
Yeah.
10 years. Oh, but the way they're getting Trae Young, man. It's going to be great.
But you know what? The Cowboys are still going to figure out a way to make the playoffs once every 9 years.
The thing is, again, I was surprised at the stat that the Cowboys hadn't had back-to-back losing seasons in 20 plus years. I was surprised to see that.
Yeah.
Come on,
but
man.
They're still terrible.
They're not terrible. Yeah, relegation is kind of it, but I don't want relegation because relegation hurts the fan base. The fan base is fine. Get rid of these owners. Get rid of them. Get a new guy in there. Get him to spend more money.
Randy, I don't think that if Cody Campbell was a Texas guy, you'd be seeing anything different. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's some rich people here too, but yeah, I'm with you.
By the way, one of my friends' wives apparently dated Cody Campbell in high school. Big downgrade.
Big downgrade.
Love the guy. He even said it himself. Big downgrade.
Do you think he still go back and maybe hook up with him for a couple mil?
I think there's kids involved now. I think that ship sailed.
Oh man. All right, a couple more for us before we hit our last break here, Matt. If the Texans lose to the Steelers, they need to hire an actual play caller to help Stroud in the offense.
Well, they need to do that anyway, whether they get to the AFC Championship game. The unfortunate thing for Patrick's dreams is that it appears that McDaniel is going to be back with the Dolphins next year. Great for Quinn Ewers. Not so great for the Houston Texans. I know we all wanted that. But yeah, I mean, they have to go get somebody.
Not Cliff Kingsbury either. Not Cliff Kingsbury.
Better Cliff Kingsbury than
I agree, but not
Nick
Cliff
Cayley.
I agree, but not Cliff Kingsbury, guys. There's better ones. Yeah. And not Chip Kelly. Not Chip
Kelly.
And our last one here, Matt. There are still a few more head coaches who should be fired. I wrote this thinking, well, there's probably still somebody who could come. John Harbaugh fired during our show today. So that equals one more. A lot of coaches already gone. Pete Carroll, a little surprising. They're going to hand the reins over to Tom Brady, which, it worked out for Michael Jordan. Whatever went wrong with Michael Jordan running teams?
Look, that's fair. Is Tom Brady the one that had a hand in bringing in Pete Carroll in the first place?
I have no idea. I don't know. I know that he got Bruce Arians let go in Tampa Bay. I think Tom Brady has some good ideas. I'll be curious to see if it works. I don't think that he is going to be able to come in and build a powerhouse in Las Vegas, but that's me.
Probably not. But the Raiders are going to be the Raiders for a long time, as long as what's his name?
Mark Davis.
Mark Davis, the one that has the bowl haircut and is dating a 24-year-old. He's like 79 or whatever he is, 80 something. I don't know. As long as that guy's in charge, they're not going to be anywhere.
And she didn't even know he was rich, man.
Oh, yeah. She just loved his smile and that beautiful haircut.
And his minivan that he drove forever. No, I still think Tampa Bay was curious to see if Todd Bowles, if he was going to be the one. That was a questionable firing, but it looks like he's going to be able to stay. But yeah, we've already seen a decent amount of coaches going out on there. Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals, just a horrible season. Did not do well. Pete Carroll, we already mentioned. Kevin Stefanski, who's interviewing for the Giants job. But by the way, Harbaugh is now the top candidate for every open position in the NFL right now. Like everyone, you're like, Harbaugh's the dude. Like I figure Miami and Tampa Bay would probably at least still like, would he be interested to come here? Because we'll let go of our coach if he wants to come here.
All due respect to Shoddy, I think the Cowboys are probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah. The Falcons got rid of Raheem Morris, which is not hugely surprising. They just were never able to get any sort of consistency going. Played decently down the stretch, but you're like, we're out of the playoffs in a bad division. All we had to do was be above 500, and we won the division. You couldn't even do that. With the best
Bijan. Free Bijan.
Is there a coach that you would like to get Bijan, like a good coordinator, good offensive mind that you could find? Like a Liam Cohen or a Dave Canales, who came from Tampa Bay, would both be awesome for Bijan because they've done so much with running backs before.
Yeah,
that both those guys I think would have been amazing. They are now somewhere else, so you have to go find somebody else to go put in there to make it work, and to find that offensive coordinator. I'm not quite sure who it is though.
Honestly, the way that Javonte Williams played this year for the Cowboys, just trade Bijan to the Cowboys.
Well, I think they're going to keep Bijan. I'm talking about the coach the Falcons can hire.
I'm saying they should just trade Bijan and start all over.
Something tells me that's not going to happen. Something tells me they want to.
But I'm telling you, they should do it.
What should they give up? What should they take from? Like a third?
No, give them a first round pick. I don't care.
Give them like a fourth, a fifth. That's what. And you know what the worst part is? You'll have him for a year, and then Jerry's going to be like, "Can't afford to pay him. Can't afford to pay him. Got to let him go." Free agency. You're like, wait, you have a first round pick for him? You're not going to, not going to keep. Gonna let him go. All right, Matt, let's take our second break here. We'll come back, hit our meathead of the day, get you ready. But yes, hashtag free Bijan. We all know we want free Bijan. Free Bijan Mustardson as well. Get yourself some free Bijan Mustardson and enjoy it as we wrap up the show here on a Tuesday edition of Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Dan Covert with my wife Hayden. Welcome to Covert BK.
Our newest location in the gorgeous Hill Country includes Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and hundreds of pre-owned and certified vehicles for you to choose from. We have 3 service departments that are ready to take care of your car, truck, or SUV with 86 service bays to accommodate any repair and get you in and out quickly. Come visit us today to select the vehicle you've been dreaming about.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and we would like to take a moment to thank all of our clients for making the last 37 years both fun and fruitful. If you haven't yet, I'd like to invite you to give us a try for all your home electronics needs. There's no need to leave your home to find great pricing and incomparable service. No traffic, inexperienced sales geeks, or pushy showroom tactics. We come to you. So just relax, hug your kids, and smile. We handle all the work. Just give us a call at 255-8678 or online at avconsultations.com.
Say hello to Jason and the gang over at Relax the Back. They embrace a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle based on 35 years, folks, of proven expertise, and my back couldn't be happier. Their motto is live wellness, and folks, they can transform your routine, your daily routine, into something very, very special if you have back pain. If you're struggling with thoracic problems, if you got hip problems, if you got lumbar problems, please go over to one of their stores. They got 2 great locations, and find out a chair or a recliner or a sofa that's going to fit you and going to make your life a whole lot better. I've got this office chair right here that I've been sitting in for years, and I love it. 2 locations, folks, at the Hill Country Gallery across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center across from the Container Store. Live pain-free like the Buck and relax the back.
SendTexTickets.com. If you're in the market for tickets to any sporting event, any concert, any Broadway show, anything live coming to town, you got to head over to SendTexTickets.com. The best seats to all of the biggest events, not just here in Austin, but all over the state and all over the country as well. It's so easy to use. Just log on your phone or computer to SendTexTickets.com. All of their tickets are 100% guaranteed, and they will be delivered right to your phone or computer. So simple to use, and you're also helping to support a local business every time you shop. SendTexTickets.com. So if you want to be at the biggest events in sports and entertainment, there's only one place to go. It's SendTexTickets.com.
Back here on Open Jam on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Hopefully tomorrow will be less tense. Hopefully. I don't know. Hoping by Friday maybe be a little less tense. Hopefully something comes down. I know Cam Coleman is supposed to be visiting Texas Tech soon. So get that and then figure out where he is, and then we'll get the tenseness of where he ends up going. I prefer he would not go to somewhere in Texas if it's not us. We don't need to hear that from anybody else, but all the things happening for Texas we'll keep you up with tomorrow as we come back. But it is time, Matt, to get to our meathead of the day. And today, there was a fun moment in the Golden State Warriors game where things were getting tense, and as coaches were getting more and more upset. Luckily, there was a special announcer, Snoop Dogg, on the commentary crew as Steve Kerr gets very upset and gets ejected from the game. There's Snoop Dogg doing a great job of announcing in a game like that, that Steve Kerr getting ejected, yelling Inglewood, doing the cat noises. Just solid stuff from Snoop Dogg in commentary there.
You know, Snoop Dogg has turned from a guy with a little bit of a questionable history to just an absolute American treasure. I love that guy. He is so awesome, and he is so fun. His halftime show was that the college or the NFL Christmas thing?
I didn't see it, but I heard
unbelievable.
Yeah, he seems to get how lucky he is to be in the moment he is in and just taking full advantage of it. So Snoop Dogg having a good time, and the ejection. Wemby returns for the Spurs tonight. We need like 3 Wembys on Texas basketball to get going. We need something going. Texas basketball.
We need 3 Wembys on Texas football too.
To give Felix excited as we continue. We'll break down. We'll see. I'll listen to the post game, see what Shawn Miller blames on his players after this game, since Texas plays Tennessee tonight. But we'll be back tomorrow. Talk about that. More portal updates, all the good stuff for you here on Open Gym. So be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for more from Open Gym.